let me tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'd just like to get to know you a little bit. My name is Gary Strohmenger. I am the managing broker here at the office. I've been in the real estate business for 31 years. Long time. I always tell people this, it's my second career. That tells you I'm kind of an old fart. I just haven't grayed up that much yet, so. But I've been here, I was with Prudential, which is no longer around. It's now called Berkshire Hathaway, so you may know of it as Berkshire Hathaway. I was with Prudential for about 17 years. I was in a partnership the whole time I was there. Came over here to Keller Williams in 2008. I've been on the ALC. I've been a leader here in the office since I came in 2008. I've kind of backed off my production a little bit. I'm going to retire next year, probably March of next year, if we can find a broker by then to take my place. But so if you know anybody knowledgeable that's looking for a broker position, we'll be looking for one here. So Chris, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I got my license in October. I joined in November. And I currently work for the Department of Defense.
You work for the Department of Defense at this time? Okay. And how long have you been there?
Well, I've been there as a contractor for 4 years. I just went civil service about the last year. Hopefully we don't avoid the shutdown.
What made you decide to get into real estate?
Like a pre-retirement. A lot of my friends are in real estate.
They didn't discourage you at all, huh?
Not at all.
Well, it's not really as easy as it looks. You know, people see people making a lot of money, but you know, that's probably today is only about 10% of the agents are going to make the kind of money you see people talking about. Unless you get out and work. I mean, there are agents that are not educated, don't have a degree, colleagues may not even have a high school degree. Maybe it's a GED. And do very well. But what we're talking about today and what you started on in your second session, your database and your prospecting is what's going to make it work for you. So Yvette, tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I've been a hairdresser for many, many years and decided I needed to change it up.
And so what was it that attracted you to real estate?
I've always wanted to do it. I don't know, just.
I hear a lot of people say that.
Yeah, just, you know, being out and about and all that.
Well, it's a lot more than just looking at homes. So that's what a lot of people like to do.
I was an agent in Arizona for just like 6 months. And then I moved back here. So yeah, I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And Jacqueline?
I'm a bartender, and I'm in the process of getting my license actually through Keller Williams right now.
Okay. And you've been bartending for, you look pretty young, so probably not too long. Huh?
Yeah. I've been in like the restaurant industry for about like 4 years now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what made you decide to get into real estate?
I've always been interested in real estate. I think it's a good career path. I have a lot of people in my family who do it, so I'm just, you know, following in their footsteps.
Well, that could be a bummer. That's where all your first transactions come from, is your family, your friends. So if your family, a lot of your family's in it, hopefully you'll get some of that business. You just need to persuade them. We'll teach you how to be persuasive. Is it Jaleesa?
Chelsea.
Chelsea? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, Chelsea.
So I went to college at U of A, and then I moved back here and served for a few years. Then oversaw the retail department at Omni Acosta in Carlsbad. And I've had my license for probably 3 months now. I've always been interested in real estate just because I grew up with my parents. They weren't realtors, but they did a lot of real estate investing. So I've been around it a lot, and I wanted to do this for a while.
Good. Betsy, you can tell us a little bit. Betsy is one of my former colleagues at Prudential, so we know each other relatively well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in business?
Since 1992.
Yeah. So
I've had my license for that period of time. I've worked for several companies in town. I built a house and took some time off to do that, and some time just to figure out who I was again, and I've come back to the business now. I am an investor myself. I have investment properties and I work with all kinds of clients. And so I'm here to just kind of get back in
The swing of things, huh?
Yeah.
Eric?
Well, I've been here since December. Came from the advertising and started real estate because I started running my own business.
Uh-huh.
So I sold it and I came here and found out this is my own business now.
Yeah, you're
Much
still running your own
smaller.
business, yeah.
Yeah, much smaller.
And so what made you come into real estate?
I started running, I had a big company, I was sick of it, just kind of burned out. So when someone made me an offer to buy it, I said, okay.
Didn't you tell me, was your wife in the business?
My wife's she's
Yeah.
a real estate. She's like a part-time one.
Uh-huh.
So it puts me in a weird spot though, because she is pretty much any one of our friends is her lead. So I have to start from scratch, but coming from lead generation business, it's gonna
We
be
just
pretty
need to get her over here then, huh? Where's she at now?
She won't leave.
Yeah, where's she at?
She's at Century 21.
It's not a bad company. That's where I started, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, me too.
Not a bad company to be with, but well,
No training.
no training. I don't have a lot of training. No, actually, the one that I was in had lots of training, and it was the first company that I started with, and they trained us a lot. Now, it has to do with the brokerage. You know, not every Keller Williams does the kinds of things that we do. You know, they all have Ignite to do, but you know, how is it presented? All that kind of stuff. So it's all done differently.
Yeah, they tried that.
We'll get her over here. Just wait. We'll have a conversation. David?
I was in the financial services industry for about 19 years.
Uh-huh. So you got a lot of wealthy clients.
Yeah. I was in the back office doing
Oh.
mostly business development.
Oh, darn. What a great database if you know.
I have a lot of financial advisors that I
Yeah.
talk
Oh, well, good. Yeah.
to.
And you can just remind them that it's, you know, that real estate's a good investment. Huh?
My company got acquired by a larger company,
Mhm.
and they eliminated most positions. So I was laid off at the end of March,
Uh-huh.
and took some time to figure out what I wanted to do, and decided I had to get out of the financial services industry. So, looking at houses in my neighborhood, I went to a lot of Jerry Clancy's open houses. I live in Park Village, and you know, chatting with him all the time, he suggested I take a look at Keller Williams real estate. So I just finished the third class and sent my application to the bureau and waiting for my test.
Yeah, good. You know, when I first got into business, which was 1987, we used to have to wait for about 4 or 5 months before after we, now, when I got my license, we only had to complete one class, principles, and then within an 18-month period, you did the other 2 classes. You had one elective, and then you had to do practices. Yeah, I spent much of the time in the office learning before I ever got my license. Matter of fact, my broker had me on the telephone answering calls because he'd run an ad. This was in a hot market, you know, another hot market was in the Long Beach area. He'd run an ad that said, needs a roof, needs carpet and paint, bring a hammer and win or something like that. And boy, it just makes the phone ring off the hook. And so my job was to just set appointments for people. I wasn't licensed, so I couldn't talk about the terms or any financing, but I could say when would be a good time for someone to meet with you, one of our agents to meet with you. And generally I had a name of a person who was going to be up next to take that lead. But you know, what a great experience. Now, I've been in sales for a long time, but there are no sales like the real estate business, because I mean, you're going to have a database and you're going to be working your database. But in the sales that I was in previously, I would call on the same customers over and over again and get business from them over and over again. Now you want to do the same thing. You want to, and I'll talk about it here in this chapter, how you want to have about 150 people that you can contact on a regular basis. So they're your Mets, they're your kind of your inner circle, and you'll spend time doing. That's why I asked. I mean, if you had clients, that would be your database. And you just what you said, you want to take those advisors and then call them on the phone or do something to let them know that you're in real estate, and then just keep following. Erwin?
Well, I've been working in the biotech field for about 20 years.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I've been working with and research, looking for drugs. But at the same time,
You know, there's a lot of people out there who got that same job. I see them on the streets all the time looking for that. You didn't do that?
I wish I could.
Makes life a lot easier.
That would be faster to make money. But, you know, I've been investing into real estate, and that's why I decided that you could actually leverage more into, you know, working in the real estate field, and that's why I decided.
Now, have you been with, were you with the same company the whole time?
No, I've
No,
been
you
in
moved around?
Moved around.
You find that a lot. So you've got a large source of people to put in your database as well.
Yeah, the problem is that I don't keep them all in my phone, you know, because usually we would communicate using the company's
Sure.
email.
But as long as you can start, they don't have to come out of your phone. You can start to, you know, look them up, go have lunch with them again. You know, pick up the phone, call them, and if you can. You know, there's a number of ways that you can reconnect with them. There's lots of sources of information out there to be able to find people. So, because that's going to be your biggest source. Those are people who already know you and trust you. You want to utilize that. So that's where you want to start with people. You know, I mean, you're going to want to be feeding it all the time because, you know, some people just aren't going to give you referrals, and you're going to need to generate new business. So open houses, door knocking, cold calling are a lot of things that you can do to, you know, to pick up new clients. But your data or your sphere of influence is the best source that you could ever want. Holly?
Well, I've been in and out of real estate since 1989 when I started at Mission Fed in the real estate department there, doing lending, servicing of loans, and then got out of that. Came back into real estate in the mid 2000s, right before the market tanked, and I freaked out and left. Should have stayed in it. Went into marketing and business
Shoulda, woulda.
management, yeah, and learned all about that. Found myself miserable in a marketing office management type position. And my husband said, "Why don't you go back to real estate? You love it." So here I am. Came back, found this. Keller Williams. Have worked for different agents in this office. Love everybody here. The training is fabulous. And about to that, I was with some friends last night, and they were saying, "Oh, Keller Williams, they do such great training." So as a whole, this company is known amongst the sphere that I talk to, my friends and family. They know Keller Williams as a super training company.
Well, for you, those of you who don't know, Keller Williams has been voted 2 years in a row the top training company, not in real estate, but in the in industry in general. So tells you a lot about the kind of trainings you're going to be getting here. Ready?
I work for the post office currently. Background in sales of Florida. Work for Budweiser. I was a sales manager there. My wife has 2 cousins in Seattle, and they're doing real estate. They're a team, and did 55 transactions last year as a team.
85?
55
55.
as a team.
Still pretty good.
Husband and wife.
Still pretty good, yeah. That's it. Would be a good year to do, especially here. But Seattle's prices have gone up substantially too. So
Yeah.
from all these Californians moving up there, you know, they sell their homes. They're all moving up to Oregon and Washington and driving because they hate us up there.
Montana too, or my family.
Yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. Well, people are going where, you know, where it's less expensive to live. Well, great. So you guys had some homework from your last class to this class. So how many? Oh, I didn't get you, Candace, did I? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you back there. You're glad I missed you, huh? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I originally came from
You were
the
hiding.
dental industry.
You can't no hiding behind Kristen.
I originally came to the dental industry about 8 years. I was managing a dental office, so definitely did not want to do manager position anymore, and wanted to switch into real estate, something that I would actually enjoy. And my husband's also a real estate agent, so.
Oh, your husband is? Oh, I didn't know that.
He's in
Is
New
he?
Homes.
Who's he with?
Kyer, it's a small company.
You're gonna get him over here, huh? No try. We do no try here. So when you get into bold, you guys will learn understand what I'm talking about. But there is no try. I mean, really, the truth is you never did anything you tried to do, did you? No, you just did it, right? I mean, a lot of people will say, I try to do things. And what a guy taught me, no, I used to say 25 years, but as I get older, he's moved back. It's been more than 30 now. You know, he said, you've never done anything you tried to do, right? And people will say, well, sure I have. And then he would say to us, well, did you try or did you do it? And most people, when they did it, said, we did it. They didn't try. If you listen to your friends, and you listen to people in general, if somebody says to you, I'm going to try to stop by tonight, don't count on them showing up. That's just them telling you, I'm not going to come, but I don't want to tell you that. I have no plan. I'm not committed. I'm certainly not committed to doing it, because you'll know when somebody's committed to doing something. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, you've got your mission sheet. Let's talk a little bit about your daily 10-4s. So were all of you here in the last session? Everybody was here? Okay, so let's see how we did. You want to just let's go around and just talk about it. It's not bad that you didn't do it. It's just a learning experience. Don't feel.
Well, don't you think too, like some weeks are gonna be better if you went to a party and met new people, and other weeks you
You can do it anyway. There's no way really, no way in particular to do it. Yes.
I'm looking at, there's no way, I don't think I can really do 10 every single time here. But 10 overall
No, you
over
can't.
a span.
We're going to learn how to do that. You and I together.
Oh,
So Holly used to work for me, and I was going to retire sooner than I'm going to be retiring now, and so I decided to revamp my business again, and Holly and I are going to do a little work together. And so I was just thinking this morning, you and I are going to be doing scripts, and you and I are going to be getting on the phone and making calls. It's not hard to make 10 contacts a day, Holly. Not really that hard. And if you're in this business to make a lot of money, most people are. I know most people say I love it, but really the underlying premise behind getting in this business is they think they can make a lot of money, and you can. But you're gonna have to lead generate. It is just part of the business, and if you don't like it, you better get out now. Now, let me say, it doesn't have to be cold calling. It could be going to a party. Some people are very social. They join tons of clubs and they go and do that. And what I would say to you, Holly, is that, and to all of you, is that if you can average 50 contacts a week, doesn't matter that you do 25 today, 10, the next day or a day, 2 days later, as long as you get those contacts in. But what this is designed to do is to get you into a regimen, because it's, here's your job. And I got to tell you, I've been in this, like I said, 31 years, and for many years, I didn't realize this. Nobody ever taught it to me. I thought my job, I'm an engineer by education, and in my previous job, I was actually in sales, but it was around engineering kinds of things. But I thought my job was to handle those transactions, to get the escrows closed. But I pay somebody $3.95 to do it today. I was earning a lot more money than that, and that's not what you're being paid to do. Your job is to lead generate and to meet face to face with people. That's your job. Everything beyond that, anybody else can do. Now, I want you to learn that stuff. So I want you to learn about what's required in the file and what's required by law. But that's not what's going to get the business for you. And so luckily I had a partner who did a lot of marketing, and we did a lot of business, and it kept me very busy doing the escrows, because chasing paperwork is really a pain. Once we split up, I knew I couldn't do that and develop business as well. So I had to learn to become a lead generator, and I start getting on the phone talking to my past clients. And that's all you really have to do if you just work your past clients and ask for business.
you
Okay.
got a ton.
So pardon me?
You have a ton.
Yeah. So let's just start with you, Chris. So how did you do on your 10-4? Did you make 10 contacts since your last yesterday? Did you make 10 contacts?
No, I haven't made 10, 6.
6 contacts. Okay. And did you connect with them? They talk about 10 connections, and my assumption is that you call people if you make a connection or if you make a contact, that you're then connecting with them.
They were through my other jobs.
And so did you talk to them about real estate at all? How did you call them? Did you tell them that you were in real estate?
Well, one person just bought a house, and I just found out that She has a few friends who are interested in
Uh-huh.
houses as well.
So you can phone and call them and said, gee, I'd like to be their realtor.
Right.
So you kind of already had a relationship with them, but you can always build upon that.
Right.
You remember, I mean, we talk to people on a regular basis, and we don't know a lot about them. So when I was with Century 21, one of the things they used to say is people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. So if you
Right.
demonstrate, that's what connection is getting to know more about them and generally being concerned about who they are and what their family is and all of that stuff. And then how about notes? Did you write any notes to them afterwards?
No.
Okay. Okay. And then did you preview any homes? You said you're working another job. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I still go to school full time as well.
Yeah. And do you plan on coming full time here?
I do.
Okay. 'Cause it's tough. It's tough to do it, to make it in this business being part time. I know you said that you were, but you work mainly nights. So
Yeah.
when I first started in the business, I came into a market that was really good and then died, and I was not very experienced. And so for a short time, I took a job as a security person, and I would work nights, come home and sleep from 7 till noon, and then get up and lead generate the rest of it. And then I would work Saturdays and Sundays doing open houses, and then I was able to build my business back up, but I needed a little bit of income. So not saying you can't work, but you're gonna have to leave yourself some time that you can do the things that are gonna make you successful in
I
the
just
business.
work my other jobs as well.
Pardon me?
I feel being in my other jobs helps me lead generate.
Well, it certainly could, yeah.
Other students.
Mhm. Well, yeah, it certainly could. If you'll take the time. It's just the problem is that most people with their job and life, it's just hard to spend any time doing this, and then they get discouraged because an open house looks like you're up Saturday, Sunday morning. You put up the signs. I always put my signs up early in the morning, and then go home and get dressed for the open house, and then you're there from 12 to 4, you pull your signs down to another hour. By the time you get home at 6 o'clock, it's a long day. And if you've already worked another job, it's tough. There's no doubt about it. So the quicker you can get going, the more lead generation you do, the quicker you can leave that job. Okay.
Well, I don't actually have my license yet. I'm still waiting for fingerprints.
Okay.
I don't know if they're backed up.
Yeah, you really can't tell. You really are not allowed to. I mean, you can call people and introduce yourself as being a new real estate agent or your license coming in.
Yeah.
And then you can ask if they know of anybody thinking about buying or selling.
Well, I'm a hairdresser and I work part-time at hair. So all of my hair clients.
What a great database.
And
Yeah.
I'm not going to call them if I see them every single month.
Yeah.
So we're still talking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if you see them, as long as and that will be a way for you to lead generate. But
Well, yeah.
see, here's a contact. Contact is calling them up on the phone and saying, "No, how you doing?" You got to ask for business. If you don't ask for business, then the call, other than you may have made a better connection, you haven't really generated any business yet. So you got to say, who do you know thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? Who do you know? Who do you know? That ought to come out of your mouth. And a good way to do it is just when you're getting ready to get off the phone. Oh, by the way, who do you know thinking about buying, selling, investing? Great talking with you. Oh, by the way, who do you know thinking about buying, selling, or investing? Now, don't get too fast with it. Some people, it's like a script, and they're like, just rip it off. So do it slowly. Who do you know that's thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate? You should always end your conversations with anybody, even if it's your brother. Because really, who's going to, they're going to want to give you referrals. And sometimes they don't think about it. You've got to keep people top of mind. You got to keep yourself top of mind with people. Okay, so let's, so you didn't make any contacts then? Okay, no, that's all right. Don't,
Well,
you'll do it.
I already have them. I just saw them last week.
Well, you'll find that you'll need to work on. Here's what's going to change your attitude about that. When one of your clients tells you they just bought a house,
Oh, I
and
know,
didn't use you,
exactly.
then you'll begin to start to talk about it more often, because the kind of money that you can make in selling a home compared to how many hours you have to spend in hairdressing.
Yeah.
You'll want to get this thing going,
Oh, yeah.
especially in today's market. I mean, when I started selling homes here, they were at 200,000. At 6%, that was still only $12,000 that were split between the two of us. I mean, today you can make yourself $20,000 in one transaction. That's why people don't want to pay us that much anymore. That's why they're trying to cut our commissions, because we're making a lot more today. But it costs us a lot more, and you'll learn how to get through that. So Betsy, how about you? Did you make any calls?
I did, but I can't get onto the internet right now. Mine is, I printed out my report.
Okay.
So I just have, for week 2, I made 17 connections and wrote 24 notes and previewed 14 calls.
See, she knows what it takes. So she wants to get started again. And that's what Holly and I are going to be doing too. We're going to be out seeing properties, knocking on doors, doing the kinds of things that get us going. Good job.
I made 10 connections. Most of them were family and friends, but some of them already knew I had my license, some didn't, so I just wanted to get that across. My parents actually want me to find them a home right now. And
Well, it'd really be a bummer if they use somebody else,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. And then I previewed one.
One?
Yeah.
Okay. At least you got started.
So I haven't really told too many people that I'm actually in the process of getting my license, because I didn't want to tell them until I actually had it in my hands.
Yeah.
But one family friend, I have talked to him a lot about it, and he told me, well, he actually works on base in Camp Pendleton and works with a lot of Marines that are flying in and moving here from across the country. So he let me know that, yeah, he said that when he does meet these people, that he would be able to refer them over to me.
What a connection. Those are the kind of connections you're going to want to look for.
Mhm.
And when you find those people, boy, just reward them. So anytime somebody gives you a referral, make sure you reward them. Actually, Brad Seaman, who's one of the top agents here, I was in one of the trainings, and he said this, and I thought it was pretty smart. He said, reward the action, not the activity. So don't wait until you do something with the person that referred. As soon as you get a referral, send them a note and a Starbucks card, $10 or whatever you want to do or whatever you can afford. But I got to tell you, that'll stick with them, and then we're going to want to do it again. Because, everybody likes to help. I mean, think about yourself. We love to help people. And that's typically why we're in this business, because we want to help people acquire their goals. And we can acquire ours at the same time. So, yeah. Good. Okay, any calls?
No.
She's got a contract going. She got a new listing. So let's give her a little round of applause for that. Ready? Any calls?
No calls. I just got the contact from the post office. My truck's a trailer driver, so I do a lot of San Diego. I work at midnight, 8:30, and I go to a lot of stations, and we got people starting at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I got plenty of contacts, plenty of contacts.
But you got to ask. If you're not asking for the business,
I'm asking.
okay, if you ask for the business, that's a contact. I don't care if you pick up the phone, if they're your Mets or not Mets. So what you got to learn to do is learn to know what a contact is, and all you have to do is just ask them. Are you thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or who do you know thinking about it? I always ended up with, because I don't like to say, are you thinking about it? But if you say, who do you know thinking about it, and they don't give you themselves, you say, well, how about you? Have you thought about buying or selling or investing in real estate? Sometimes they'll go, oh yeah, I kind of am thinking about it. You'll be amazed at the kind of things that you say and how people's reactions to it and what kind of information you get out of that. Holly, you didn't do yours?
So, well, I didn't write it down, but I
Okay.
met about 7 people and talked to them and put them in my database and all that.
Mervyn?
We just started contacting 3 people from my previous company. One of them is getting married. So she's not sure yet, but maybe. until after she got married, and she'll write
You say, well, you know, now you're married and you got that extra income, let's go buy a house. Gary?
No,
No calls?
Previewed one house.
You previewed one house.
That was it.
David?
I didn't make any calls. I'm not licensed yet, but
Yeah.
I did talk to one of my buddies, and he's planning on buying a house this year. So he'll use me, or he'll
Yeah.
into using me.
Or you kill him, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
I have
So,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question.
Uh-huh.
So with this KW Connect thing that everyone's logging into, since I don't have my license through like a Keller Williams office, am I allowed to access this?
You can access, sure. The only thing that you can't do without a license is talk about price and terms. So you guys can call. You can say, look, John, I'm in the process of getting my real estate license. I just wanted to let you know that. And so I want to let you know, so if you happen to hear of anybody, say, listen, if you get a lead today, we'll refer it to somebody and you'll make 25% on it when you get your license.
Yeah,
We'll hold
well,
your
I'll
check.
reserve
So
it.
any of you.
I'll take a referral.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to call, because the only thing you can't do, is talk about price and terms of a property. You can, you know, all I would ask you to do would be just tell them you're getting your real estate license. So you start to make those contacts. I mean, it sounds like you did. You're already doing that. But you can pick up, especially with your family and friends, and, you know, let them know that you're getting your real estate license and you'd love to help them when they have a need for real estate.
You put out on your social media like a coming soon.
Yeah.
Little image, you know, JPEG.
Here's my
of it.
social media.
You know, coming soon, my license. Get ready to buy and sell real estate with me.
Yeah.
That out there.
I asked about getting access to the Keller Williams system, and they told me I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, somebody could, like, if you get Will, you won't be able to do it from home. But you could come in here and somebody could set you up and do it. You can sit right out here.
Someone else's log.
Will could log you in. If you just get on the KW Connect, or one of the girls out front could log you in, if you want to come in and watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, until you have a KW email address, and that's, you can't
So
get in.
since she's my roommate, she has it.
You can use her stuff. Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
yeah, it doesn't matter, just as long as you connect with it and
Okay.
and you watch it.
But I just don't have my own personal.
Right.
Hey, Gary, did we have a sign-in sheet somewhere?
Pardon me?
Should I ask the girls for a sign-in sheet?
Yeah, we probably should have one. There's probably one here.
Oh, okay.
But what I will need is a clipboard, and I didn't bring a pen in with me either. But let's just start it around. It's all right, Holly. We got desk up, so we'll just do that. Okay. So did any of you watch the videos?
Yeah, I did that.
Okay. So any ahas?
The guy that did the listing for the, oh wait, maybe that was one ahead. I think that was a different one.
What were the?
Lead generation. I guess it was just lead generation,
So
right?
you weren't you supposed to watch the technology?
Set up, yeah, but I had already set mine up, so.
Did you watch any of them?
I already had mine set up too.
You already have it set up?
Yeah,
Okay. But did you watch any of the videos?
no, I
No.
probably should.
Anybody watch any of the
I
videos?
watched lead generation. Just kind of skip that.
You watched them? Okay. Well, those are the kind, I mean, there's a lot of information on there. One of the things you're going to find with Keller Williams is they have so much information, it gets to be a little bit confusing. I mean, I find that they have tons of training materials for you, and sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, but certainly take advantage of this stuff. You're going to have top producing agents telling you what they do, and here's what you're going to find out. You're going to find that they're just no different than you are. You know, one of the things that it used to amaze me when I first started in this business was you'd see, you know, they always, when you would go, especially with Century 21, we used to have in Orange County, they used to have big rallies, sales rallies, and, you know, they would announce all the people, and you'd look at those people and you'd go, I can do that. If that guy can do it, I can do it. And that's what you're going to see, is that it's not anybody, it's nobody special. You just have to go out and plug away. You know, it's just going out and doing it. And lead generation is the main thing. It's not the funnest thing. You're not going to like it. I mean, most people don't. I shouldn't say you're not. I don't want to set that premise for you, but most people don't. And, you know, so why is that? What do you think the biggest reason is people don't want to call people on the phone?
Pure rejection.
You're a rejection. And if you just know that nobody can ever reject you, you won't feel it. I mean, you know, you'll take it at first, you know, you'll feel it here, but then pretty soon you just realize that it's not a big deal. They just don't, they're not wanting to work with you right now. They're just not ready right now, and just be okay with that and move on to the next person. Let me tell you a little story. When I first got into the business, and it almost stopped me from door knocking when I first got in the business. I'm out door knocking in a neighborhood that I lived in, walked up on this porch, and it was down close to the beach, and they had this big sign up there that said Happy Landing, and I go up and I knock on the door, and the guy says, "Get the hell off my porch." I'm like, really? Get off my, you know, because everybody, it was a hot market. Everybody was trying to get people to sell their homes close to the beach. You know, that's where everybody wanted to buy. Now that could have stopped me from, and it did for a little while. I mean, I kind of turned around with my tail between my legs and headed back to my car and, you know, contemplated what I was going to do. But here's what I realized. This is all I can do. I mean, somebody's going to say no to me no matter what no matter how I lead generate. Somebody's going to say no. And you just got to be okay with that. And it's not about you. It's never, ever, ever about you.
It's a numbers game, right?
It is a number.
He's just one of the numbers.
So I read a book a long, long time ago, and it's still probably still available. It's called List More, Sell More. And he was a cold caller. You know, we used to do a lot more cold calling. Today it's really hard to cold call, or harder to cold call, because so many people have unlisted numbers and they have cell phones. And you know, we used to get the crisscross directory and go down the crisscross directory, and they'd have phone numbers in there, and you could call. And we didn't have a do not call list and all that. But what he used to do is he would figure out what, and we're going to talk a little bit about tracking, what, how much money he made on each transaction, and then how many calls did it take him to get an appointment, how many appointments did it take him to get a listing, and then he would then put that money aside. So let's say it was just $10 a call. So every time he made a call and connected with somebody, he would put $10 up there. So he felt like he was getting something out of it. Not a bad way to look at it. You know, use poker chips or something that are like, you know, that you can associate with money. And pay yourself at the end of your cold calling. Wouldn't it be nice to have $100 there? If it was $10, it'd be a lot more than $10 a call, and you could go buy a pair of shoes, huh? You know? And feel good about it. Not beat yourself up when you after you bought them, saying, "Oh, I probably should have spent this money," because you feel like you earned it. So is Holly the only one that watched the videos? What, you watching, Eric? Any takeaways?
Some of them. I'm not sure if it was the right one.
Oh, well, there were the ones right here in your book. It's technology, it's technology set up. Well, they probably did that with you. Are all of you set up on e-edge? Yeah, you all do that when you come in, right? So the technology training, e-edge, you were supposed to watch that. Watch technology, e-edge marketing sends the right message at the right time. So there were like 3 of them that you were supposed to watch. It wouldn't hurt for you to watch them today. I mean, you know, when you finish up, go back and watch them. They'll give you some information. Okay. We talked about this. Did you call list out? Well, we're actually, I'm going to get, did you guys bring a call list today? If we have a call list? I don't know. No call list. So you need to start bringing that call list. You know, just write down 10 people that you can pick up, 20 people, because you're not going to get a hold of all of them. So you can pick up the phone and call people while you're here. Then you can have a conversation with other people or with the instructor about what went on. You know, I had this situation. What do I do? And we have at Keller Williams, we got tons of scripts for you. And there's scripts all over the place. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I don't like scripts, they sound canned." Well, what you've heard is the guy that called you on the phone that's reading it from a piece of paper. So yes, that sounds canned, but what you're going to want to learn to do is to memorize those. So the same guy that I was telling you about that counted the money, he was a big FSBO. When I started in this business, I listed for sale by owners. And they're not the easiest people to list. Remember, they already have a problem with real estate agents. They think, even then, when we didn't make a lot of money, it was a lot of money then. they didn't want to list with you. But he said if you were a singer and you wanted to sing Elvis Presley's song, a song by Elvis Presley, you would sing it in the same notes with the same tone, but you would put your personality into it. Same with the way with scripts. When you memorize them, when they become internal, then you can add your personality to it. Nobody's ever going to know the scripts. It sounds like your language. And here's the truth. If you don't use scripts that are already designed for real estate, you're going to make your own up. And what you'll find is you're going to be saying the same things over and over again. When you're a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, or when you're presenting an offer, you're going to say the same kinds of things, but this is just going to get you there quicker. So there's already proven language that will help move people to where you want them to go. And I don't want you to think it's manipulative, because I don't believe in any of that. I mean, I want to work with people that want to work with me and want to do what we're talking about doing. But it doesn't mean you can't make them become more aware by using scripts. So I'll just give you a quick example. And this has been, I haven't done for sale by owners in 25 years. For whatever reason, there are not hardly any for sale by owners in this particular area, even when the market was slow. There just weren't a lot of them.
In my neighborhood, and then it disappeared.
Pardon me?
I don't know what he did before I decided to make the jump back in. There was a guy.
So you just memorize those scripts, and I can do it today. I don't remember quite as well as I used to, but if there were for sale by owners, I'd be out working them, because I got more scripts for them. I got more scripts memorized for them than I do anything else. Now we get some expired, so you can have some scripts for expired, but use scripts. Don't use that excuse that it sounds like a canned presentation. If you don't know it well enough, it will sound like a canned presentation. But if you know it well enough, it won't. And there's tons of them. There's information, there's not only the stuff that we use with Keller Williams, there's Tom Ferry's out there, there's Mike Ferry, that's his dad. They all have their own scripts, and you'll pick the ones that work for you. There are some here that would help you with making those calls that we were talking about earlier today. I just want to introduce myself, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. No, that's pretty much it. That should be in here in any minute. Anybody have any questions? No questions. You'll get this group a little more lively here, don't we?
I got a question.
Preview a home. Which way would you preview a home? You say, preview homes. Open houses, what you saying?
Oh, well, if you're licensed, you're not licensed.
Yes, I'm not
Don't have your license, then you just get on the MLS and call up, usually what people want to do is they want to start working in a particular area. So go out and preview those homes in an area. You can be, one way to lead generate is called geographical farming. So let's say you live in a particular neighborhood, you go out and preview the homes in that neighborhood. Surrounding neighborhoods. Remember, when somebody, especially in this area, because we're in the Poway School District, most people come to this area because they want to be, they would really rather be over in Del Mar, but they can't afford it. Because that's the best, that's the best school system, what people think. So they can't purchase there, or they don't want to. And they come to the Poway Unified School District. Remember, that's Poway, that's Rancho Penasquitas, that's all of Rancho Bernardo, Forest Ranch, all those areas. So there's a ton of homes that you would be able to preview. Pick up, look at it on go on the MLS, decide what you want to do. Maybe start in a small area, and then just go out and start, call them on the phone and say, my name's Freddie, and I'd like to preview your home today between 2 and 3. And then just go preview. You go through, leave your card there, go through and look and see what the price is, what the home you're going to get at that particular time.
Also caravans.
But yeah, well, caravans. There's broker caravans that you can go on. There's they're probably the best. The two best would be Poway, but you have to pay to go to Poway. You have to be a member to go to their caravan. And you can go to Rancho Bernardo. You have to pay there, but it's $1.
Send the car, right?
Pardon me?
With Sandicor, right? Sandicor?
Yeah, well, you go through Sandicor, you use Sandicor to find the properties. So, yeah, you could go out, caravan is nice, and open houses. I mean, there's no reason you can't use open houses. The convenience of that is that, you don't have to call, you don't have to do any of that. But, if you're gonna go through the week, for one, they probably not gonna be an open house. There may not be an open house when you're out on a particular house. So it just gives you the ability, if you use MLS, to find the homes, to be able to see more of them. Yeah. Did you have another question, Fred?
No, I was gonna say every Sunday I go to open houses anyway. We went to like 4 open houses.
Okay, good. Well, that's previewing homes. You can consider that preview. Yeah.
In Arizona, because I was licensed in Arizona for a short time, they had us preview vacant homes.
They had you preview the vacant ones, and you can do that too.
I mean, they never said, okay, well, you can preview any home. They said, oh, you gotta go to the vacant ones.
Well,
So you're not
I mean,
buying.
I have to tell you, and a lot of people don't do it today, but I used to preview every home that I would show them, because I would sit down with them and have a consultation with them to find out what they were looking for. So if I were taking them to homes that didn't fit their criteria, and if I haven't been in it, I don't know whether it does or not.
But when you're starting out and you don't have a buyer,
So what?
well, that's just what.
I preview them. Listen, when I first came down here, I had to learn the area. I just previewed all kinds of them, whether I had a buyer or not. You don't need a buyer to preview. You ready, Ed?
I'm ready.
I'm ready for you.
All right.
So this is Ed Orenstein. He is one of the top producing agents here in the market center. How long have you been in business, Ed? 30 years. Little less than me. So I have some seniority on him. He does more business than I do.
We have
Because I help you.
I like it. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Ed. How you doing?
Good. I don't know that I know you, but I know of your mom. Okay. Hi. So, just so I know who the audience is, who's been in this business less than a year? Most of you. So who's more than a year? A while? How many years? Oh, you've been around. I know that name.
Well, in different roles more than a year, but not in this role.
All right, good. So I'm supposed to talk about lead gen, find your business, right? Probably a good thing to do if you want to make money. So I bounce around. I'm gonna follow some of Keller Williams Ignite. I'm gonna bounce on some other stuff. Have you guys been going, have you had classes every day this week?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So today's your whopping third class. Who's missed a class already? All right. It's your business. I was telling Michelle yesterday that this class, there's a couple things at Keller Williams, and this isn't a sales pitch, I'm just telling you flat out reality. This class, and then there's a class in March I do bowl, which is a little more structured, are ridiculously good for you, especially you guys that raise your hand less than a year. It's a good refresher, it's some good picking up tips. But when you look at the people, and this isn't to pat me on the back, but you look at the lineup of who's teaching you this stuff, Wednesday, Monday, those are top people in this office, and those are top people in San Diego. I wish I had something like that 30 years ago. I mean, I basically had to, grab on whoever I could and say, hey, could you give me a little bit after hours? Can you do this? Can you do that? And here we just kind of give it right to you. So it's good stuff. So hopefully you get some good stuff out of it. I certainly would if I were sitting down. So I'm going to go through some of their stuff. I'm going to assume that everybody here can read, so I'm not big on reading what they already wrote. Doesn't really work for me. And then I'm going to share some of my personal stuff and what's made me successful, what's made me be here 3 decades later. It isn't because I still got tons of bills to pay. It's, I've put together a system that works for me. And I'm going to suggest that you guys figure out what works for you, and the ones that are new, I would say don't cross a lot of things off. I mean, be open to ideas. Don't try to outthink. That's what I did. That's what a lot of us do when we're young. Try to outthink whether that's going to work or not work. You know, if there's a particular thing you want to do with lead gen, whether it's farming or social media or social this or whatever it may be, go figure out who's doing that successfully and take them to lunch. Ask them what they're doing. I think you'll find, do all of you belong to this market center? Does everybody? Okay. I think you'll find, I personally don't know of anybody that would say no, but I haven't asked everybody. But I think you'll find that if you approach someone politely and say, can I go take you to lunch and ask you questions about X, Y? I mean, I know I'm that way, but I think most people would be delighted to sit down with you. That's one of the beauties of the culture here. And to me, that's a very, you know, attractive feature of what we have in this office. So if I'm you guys, I would take advantage of that. Okay. And if you got a question, you want to shout out, you want to stop me, then do that anytime. It's all good with me. Can't see through these things now. Okay, so lead generation. That's the fun part of this business. So we all got on page 15. I'm going to draw something. Okay, I'm going to back. So 15's got this big funnel looking thing on it. Is that your page 15 of Find Your Business, right?
Yeah.
Talks about leads, appointments, agreements, contracts, and little dollar sign.
Yes.
Okay. So I used to fight this saying, and I finally gave into it, but real estate is a numbers game. That's the reality of it. Very, very few people. There are some people that have this many clients, and they happen to be, you know, multi-million-dollar clients that buy and sell a lot of real estate. For most of us out there, you've got to find plenty of people that might do something to get enough people that do something, to get enough people that do something that hire you, that you make the living you want to make. That's really, I just made that up, but anyway, that's really what that whole funnel thing is, right? You got to have enough people to get enough appointments. You're not going to get them all. To get enough appointments, to get enough contracts, that means signatures, right, to get paid. And even those you get signatures on, some of them you don't get paid. Some, you know, we're in a great market right now. There's still things that go sideways. You're gonna, you know, if you do enough business, you're gonna run into people that you really don't want to be in business with. You're gonna run into deals that blow up. You're gonna get people that hire you and then decide that really they're gonna let the kid move into the condo. Sorry, I thought I was gonna sell it, or gee, we're not getting a divorce after all, we're keeping it. Those things happen. So whatever your target number is, you need to beef it up probably by, in this market, I'd say probably by 20%. If you really need to get it going, if you're gonna sell 10 houses, you better target yourself for 12 houses. So at the end of the day or end of the year, you really end up with your goal, okay? So here's my thought on this whole thing. So you got, I'm probably really lousy at this, but you got like a foundation, right? That's what you guys are trying to learn now. You learned a tiny bit when you took the real estate exam. I mean, it doesn't really teach you much of anything practical, right, for the business. And you want to get up here, you know, where you make money, right? That's kind of probably why most of you are doing this. I mean, some people have that altruistic, I want to go help people, and I always loved homes, but you probably get up each day because you want to go make a living. So in between, I believe you want to have at least 3, I'd say probably 4 pillars that are going to support this. So that's really what we're talking about today. I've had this in my head for 30 years. You have to have these pillars. This pillar might be door knocking. This pillar might be your sphere of influence database. Okay, this one might be, I don't know, depending on your personality type, might be your social groups, you know, the girlfriends you go out with, the people you do Facebook with, whatever, the kids' soccer team, all that stuff. And this one might be cold calls, expires, whatever it is. I don't care if you start hitting a home run on this one, don't bank everything on one. Things happen. You don't want to be locked in one farm and everything's great and then something happens in that day. Things happen. I did a lot of sphere of influence, and you'll talk to a lot of top agents, they'll tell you when all the short sales came down, before most of you even thought about real estate 10 years ago, the referrals I don't know what your experience was, but I didn't get as many referrals. People weren't telling their girlfriends or their buddies, I haven't made a house payment in 6 months, I'm about to lose my house. That was like a hush hush. Like, you know, the way divorce used to be 20 years ago. Now everyone like brags about it, but nobody was running around announcing they're getting their house foreclosed on. So I noticed that a lot of those sphere of influence calls I wasn't getting anymore. you know? Wasn't getting that so much. So I had to figure out another way. All right, so we're gonna talk about those pillars. That's really, I think, what the class is. They ask really kind of silly questions. What are the benefits of prospecting? Who wants to tell me the benefits of prospecting? Any benefits?
Referrals?
Referrals?
Filling the funnel.
What's that?
Filling the funnel.
Fill in the funnel. Okay.
Well,
Money. Everybody wants to make some money. Is that the goal? Okay, cool. So if you go to 17, they've kind of written their, you know, training companies like to do these cute little things. So they call it the 4 C's of prospecting, right? Capture, connect, close, and cultivate. So I believe our job today, I got to ask Gary how long I should go, but whatever. Our job today is really to talk about those first 2. Okay, this isn't the class on how to get them to sign a contract, and it's certainly not the class on the cultivate. They just figured out a C word. That's their follow-up. That's like after close, keep in touch, invite them to parties, do all that fun stuff, right? So the big thing on prospecting is how do you go get a database, right? You guys have been told all the way since Monday, probably, you got to go get a database, right? You got to go find people that you can go keep in touch with, right? Is that what they told you? I assume on Monday, they said, pull out your holiday Christmas card list or whatever you want to call it, right? Your kid's birthday list, whatever groups you have, whatever your past, you know, work mates were, right? People that you already know, you need to reach out to them and say, hi, remember me? I'm Chris. I'm in real estate now. Remember, I'm a good guy and hopefully I can help you or a friend down the road. Something to start growing that database. If you want to be, I would say, again, what I'm going to tell you is true for the majority. I'd even say the vast majority of people. There's always an exception. But if you want to be relatively successful in this business, you're going to have to figure out other ways besides that. Unless you're the person who, you know, lived down the street, middle school, high school, college, you've got, you know, 1,000 people that know you in town. You've got to go grow a database. Okay? So let's talk about that. So they're talking about capturing leads, getting their contact. You know, you go on page 18, they talk about, again, their terms of building a database with haven't met. So haven't met is you don't know this person. So I've built most of my career on my farm, my geographic farm. So I go out and I door knock. I go out and I introduce myself to people that I don't know. I say hi. I try to do something pleasant. I move on. I do that over time. I'm trying to show them consistency. I'm trying to show them professionalism. I'm trying to show them a hard work ethic, right? I go out there when I don't do it as much now when it's really hot, but when it was really hot, I'd purposely not wipe my forehead off and I'd be there sweating going, I promise to sell, I'd get this information out to you. You know, I want to, you know, I'm trying to look like a hard worker. That might not be for everybody. Like I said, there's a lot of ways to do it. But you have to get comfortable having that initial conversation with somebody. What I would recommend is, and again, since you're starting out, maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't, but I would always recommend you want to get to a place where you're having a conversation with someone where you can casually say, hey, what do you do? Right? You ask them. And they're, oh, I'm an engineer over at Qualcomm, blah. The odds are pretty good they're going to come around and ask, what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate agent over at Keller Williams. And you give your little chat. I don't believe you want to be a walking billboard. I think that turns people off, right? Less and less and less, trust me, I do this every day. Less and less people answer the phone. Less and less people respond. There's just too much inundation of people trying to get your contact info, trying to do this, trying to do that. So you've got to figure out a way, and I can tell you tips that I do, but you've got to figure out a way that's comfortable to you, but not overly comfortable. You've got to stretch yourself. Most of us, I mean, I'm not a real outgoing person. If I'm with friends, I'm going to talk louder than everybody and probably not shut up, but you put me in a room where I don't know a lot of people, and unless I've got an actual business function there that I need to go do something, and even at those, I'm not real comfortable with it. So you got to have to stretch whatever your particular personality is. Unless you're just a high I, social butterfly, you're not going to have a problem with that. I would put forth that you want to do it in a way that's comfortable. I say that comfortable for the recipient, right? That you're not you don't want to be the ambulance chaser, right? Attorney guy. And hey, you know, anybody heard? I can, you don't want to do that. So one of the things that I do when I meet somebody, there's a little sentence I always say to people when it's appropriate. And then I'm trying to evaluate the opportunity in front of me. And what I mean by that, I'll give you my real world examples. So first of all, the phrase. So when I get to the right opportunity, you know, I'm doing these out of order here, but the phrase is really important. I learned this from Brian Buffini, and it's a guy, Joe Nigo, he calls it his mayor campaign. So he's basically trying to figure out if these people might vote for him. That's why he calls it a mayor campaign. So what I do is you ask somebody, if I met Yvette and I thought it was the appropriate time, and I'll get back to that, then I would say, hey, Yvette, I enjoyed chatting with you. You know, she's asked me, what do you do? So she knows I do real estate. And I'd say, hey, it's been good chat with you. Let me just ask you, if you had a real estate need or your friend or family member did, maybe a guy down the street, do you have an agent that you're kind of locked into that you'd refer? And she's going to think about it. Sometimes she says no. Sometimes she says yes. Oh, yeah, my next door neighbor's an agent. I love her. She's great. Great. Done. I'm not pursuing Yvette anymore. 80 to 90% of the time, people hum and haw and go, not really. I know a couple agents, but, you know, not anyway. So, you know what? I'd love the opportunity to become that agent for you. Tell you what, how about I put you on my client appreciation program? I'll keep in touch with you. I'll give you a call a couple times a year, you know, and I say this, you guys can't say this unless you have this. I say, I do some fun things with it. I give away joy and apple pies at 4th of July, and I give away Christmas trees at the holidays. So what's the best number to reach you? All right, I didn't pause. I'm not really asking her to answer. If she gives me her phone number, that's her answer, right? If she doesn't, if her answer is no, she's not going to give me her phone number, right? So I'm not going, is it okay, and waiting for her to say, yeah, it's okay. I'm just politely getting this out. My goal is I want your phone number and I want your email. And if I just met you, so I don't know your address, then I want your address. I want to be able to keep in touch with you. But I want to ask it so it's comfortable. I'm not asking you to sell your house tomorrow, right? I'm just trying to find out. And if they know somebody, then they know somebody. And it's someone, and even then, if you're really good, and they go, yeah, you know, I know this guy Bob. I say, oh, okay. So Bob's real good. That you'd put your name behind Bob if your friend was making a move. And they say, yes, done. If they go, well, I kind of know him, but I don't know what he does, really. I just know he's a real estate agent. Because that's what you get a lot in San Diego. If you haven't figured that out yet, there are thousands of us out there. Thousands of us. Right, Betsy? We're not in Oklahoma, okay, where these agents go out and dominate and they go, oh, I got 40% market share in my city. Okay, that doesn't happen out here. So I would recommend you figure out your little spiel. I like mine. It's not mine. I stole it from somebody. I didn't steal it. He gave it to me. Practice it. Get comfortable with it. Try it out on your best friends. It doesn't matter if you flub, you fail, whatever. But get something that rolls off the tongue. It's comfortable. But you got to close the door. If you're going to have that opportunity, you need to get contact info. Not, oh, yeah, if I hear anybody, I'll let them know about you. That doesn't do squat. It sounds nice. It doesn't do squat. Okay? So figure that thing out. Again, you can take mine, whatever you want to do. Now let's talk about when you say that. Right? I said you got to figure out when. You don't know what the right time is. In my mind, I go on door knock a lot. So when I'm door knocking, I know that whatever that person that just answered the door, whatever they were doing, I just interrupted. Whether they're watching TV or they're talking to the dog or they're on the phone with the doctor, I don't know what it was. I just interrupted them. I can tell you from experience, my experience is about 1 in 1,000 get pissed off that I'm at the door. So this myth about, oh my God, no solicitor sign and they're going to get mad at me, BS, okay? 1 in 1,000 I have a problem with. I have a problem with them. I take them off my list. I don't knock on the door anymore. 80% are polite to me. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, it's good to see you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Most of them say something, and 20, 30% or so, just like, you know, you can tell they're just being polite and they want to get back and close the door. So I'm nice. I don't take up too much time. So I don't want to ask them that the first time I meet them, but I also know I'm coming back, right? So if I met Chris, if I had a really good conversation, if Chris came out and goes, oh, yeah, oh, you're that guy. Okay, yeah. Hey, I was wondering, you know, the neighbor, and all of a sudden we're talking real estate because he wants to talk real estate, right? All I do is mention I'm a real estate agent, but he wants to get in this big talk, and I feel there's a bonding going on. Then I'm going to go in for it, and I'm going to go in and say, can I get your number, right? I mean, a lot of you might have I had practiced 35 years ago on the dance floor, right? There's a time to ask for it, ladies, and a time not to ask for a number, right? It's the same kind of thing, right? I just thought of that, but that's reality. You don't want to go, hi, how you doing? You want to dance? Can I get your number? Right? That doesn't work, right? I don't think it worked. I never even tried that. So, but if Chris was he was polite, but it was a relatively short conversation, and he just went, oh, hey, thanks for stopping by, and that was it, and I moved on. I'm probably not going to ask because I don't really think I can ask that multiple times, right? I think it's kind of really ridiculous. If I asked him and he said, no, I don't know you. I don't want to give you my info. And then I come back a month later or 2 months later and I say, oh, hey, Chris, how you doing? Can I get your number? That's weird. So I'm kind of looking for that opportunity. But I also know if I'm farming, I know if I've been that door 12 times, if I went there 12 times, that's probably like 4 years because I get out about every 3 to 4 months. And I've never met this guy, and now I met him, I'm going to try to have a further conversation because I might not meet him again for 4 more years. So you have to look at what your opportunity is. And I'm much more likely than to ask because I'm thinking, what do I got to lose? He's probably not going to be home for another 4 years. And that happens. And I'll say something like, man, I've been at your door for 4 years. You're never here because I got my notes. And he goes, yeah, kid's homesick. Oh, okay. So what do you do? What kind of job do you have to leave, right? I'm trying to get them talking a little bit. Another perfect example that worked out phenomenally, it wasn't even a dinner party. A buddy of mine was playing in a band up in Temecula, and his wife, we're all good friends, so his wife coordinated like 4 couples to go out to dinner. The other 3 couples I didn't know. They were friends from their neighborhood. So we got together, we're eating dinner up at Stone Brewery, and it just worked out this way. The wife says, hey, why don't the boys sit there and the girls sit here? So I'm sitting there with 3 other guys, and we're chit-chatting, and I was able to get the conversation a little bit around real estate. And the one guy just moved there like a year before, and he's chit-chatting about his age, and yeah, it wasn't that great about it. So when we're getting up, and I know we're going to see a loud band, so I know my opportunity is not going to be very good in a bar to be getting information, right? So as we got up to leave, I just met the guy 40 minutes before, an hour before, and I went for it. And I just said, I said something like, hey, yeah, I enjoyed the conversation. Would you mind if I gave you a call on Monday and just kind of, followed up with you and, kept in touch? And sure. So I just grabbed his number, right? I don't need everything. If I got his number, I can get everything else on Monday. It's like a Saturday night. And he had mentioned something about a brother maybe moving down here. So I called the guy Monday. I said, hey, you mentioned something, your brother might, and I get that all the time and it never happens. So he gives me his brother's information. Long story short, I get the brother's information. I get this guy in my database. I call the brother. Yeah, it looks like we're moving. Boom, boom, boom. I'm in Italy on vacation with my family. Brother and wife come down here. I hooked them up with someone standing in for me, and we sold them a house for $950,000 cash. I came back and did the final walkthrough and got paid. Okay? If I don't ask for his phone number, none of that happens. None of it. That's a $23,000 paycheck, minus a little bit I gave because the agent showed him houses for an hour and a half. So you have to think of your opportunity in the moment. Now, if it was you take that same exact scenario, but now it's a book club, a bridge club, whatever, and you're part of the club, so you're going to see these same people over time. If it were me, I'd probably work myself into it, right? I'd probably have a little bit more conversation before I said, hey, can I get you, unless it was, again, they were asking you a lot about real estate. Like the baseball teams my kids been on, that's what I do. I go help the kids. I go help coach. I do that all season long. I send little notes to the kids. Hey, Billy, it's great watching you improve over the season. And then the last game or two is when I'm asking the parents, hey, I don't know if you guys know I'm a local real estate guy. Let me ask you, if you had a real estate need, your friend or family member, blah, 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 blah. Do you know anybody? Oh, okay, great. How about I put you on, right? That's my little thing to go add people to my database. So my database, which I'm in the process of calling right now, is a little over 1,100 people. 1,100 of 1,100 gave me their permission to put them on my database. Doesn't mean they're all going to hire me. Doesn't even mean that half of them are going to hire me. But it does mean that if I got their phone number, they gave me the phone number. I didn't go on Haynes Crisscross or Cole's Directory or whatever and snag their stuff and start bugging them without being welcome. Some are bizarre. They give you all that info and then they hire someone else a week later and you go, well, why did you just give me that info? If you're, that happens. But what I've learned is that the work is getting the info. Once you have that, once you put them in your system, and we'll talk about that, that's, I think, part of class 2. Once you get that, you've done the hard work other than the follow-up. But as far as getting them in there, when I mail an extra postcard to somebody, it costs me like 21 cents more. Seriously. So over the course of the year, I mail them 10 or 12 postcards. You guys can do the math. It costs me like less than $3 to keep in touch with them. Right? So I'm always very, 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 very slow to take some out of my database. Like they got to really piss me off. Like they live down the street. They hired Gary to sell the house. Now they piss me off. I have some people that didn't hire me and I call them and they got a story and I keep them on the database because the story sounds like they'd hire me the next time. Right? So I don't gain much by kicking them off the database. I mean, it saves me 3 phone calls a year, maybe saves me an apple pie or something, but for the reality, it doesn't really save me much. And if they do come through, they just paid for the next 1,000 people for the next 10 years kind of thing. So.
Yeah, I was going to say something.
That's quick.
And they might feel bad that they didn't hire you and give you a referral out of that.
Yeah. I got a lady 3-4 years ago, I'm door knocking, and I met this lady 2 or 3 times. She's home a lot. And one day, she's a very nice lady. And one day, as we're chatting at the door, and I had already put her in my database. So she kind of went from the farm to my computer database we'll talk about. And she says to me, hey, I know you come by and everything, but my best friend's a real estate agent. So really, I wouldn't use you, blah, blah, blah. And it comes up in conversation. I said, okay, great. I appreciate you letting me know. So I actually take her off my list and I stopped knocking on her door. She lives like a block and a half from me, but I stopped knocking on her door because she's going to hire her friend. And maybe a year goes by and she calls me. And her husband are both on the phone and they're like 5 minutes into this conversation telling me about how they're going to move and they got to sell the house right away. And I just happened to remember this lady. And I said, time out. I said, what happened to your friend? I thought you said you're going to, because I'm afraid that they're just picking my brain, get all the answers, then they're going to go tell their friend, hey, the local experts say do this. I've been down that path a lot. So I say it very politely, but I said, her name's Cece. I said, Cece, I thought you had a friend that you swore you're going to hire. She goes, yeah, I do, but I really need to get this sold. I think you're going to do a much better job. Okay. So they actually interviewed me. It was weird, like 20 more minutes on the phone. And then I went over and signed them up. Boom, 6% commission, $1 million sale, sold her daughter house, da-da-da-da-da-da. So you just don't know. My lesson learned was I should have just kept dropping to her because I almost lost that one because I literally stopped focusing on her. Luckily, she still called me, even though she wasn't getting my material anymore. So people don't know what's going to happen in the future and this and that. Okay. So I guess my lesson on that one is you're trying to capture them, have something you're going to say that's going to get that info. And then you just have to be, this is a weird business because like my message says, if it's after 6 o'clock, I'll call you tomorrow, right? So the impression is I'm going home at 6 and I don't want to hear from you, which is true. But when you're doing stuff like the story I just told you, that was a Saturday night. I'm drinking beers, I'm having a dinner with my friends, but yet I'm a real estate guy. So in the back of my head, it's still, here's an opportunity, be aware of it. So you have to, but at that point, I'm doing this for 3 decades, so I'm always aware of it. But you might not be. If you're new in the business, you might not be. So you have to remind yourself when you're going out that I just have to be aware if an opportunity presents itself, right? So you have to, I don't know how to teach you that. You just have to, I would say, practice saying it so it's in your head, so it's almost a subconscious. I mean, I can say that to anybody at any time, at any moment right now. So you want to get comfortable with it, but you also have to keep your brain engaged that there might be an opportunity, right? I wear this thing, I try to wear it, and try is a bad word, I shouldn't say that word. I pretty much do wear it 90-95% of the time. You just don't know. I could be in line at Ralph's and someone sees and they look and they go, oh, you're a real estate guy. Oh yeah, you know, we just moved into town. We're thinking of doing something, and blah, 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 blah. You just don't know, and it doesn't hurt me. I put it on, it takes 10 seconds. When I go home at night, I take it off, it takes 2 seconds, and I'm done. Now, I will warn you, you will get asked, this happened to me at Dick's Sporting Goods last week, you will be asked where the basketballs are because they see a name tag and they think you work there. It happens once a month, because I wear it out all the time. I don't even know I have it on. Huh? Yeah. It is, but you just, so what? You know, and usually I think the funny part is the person that asks it's majorly embarrassed themselves. I could care less, but it happens because they see a name tag, and I've probably done the same thing to someone else with a name tag on, and he's shopping for a suit, but I thought, and he's a financial planner or something. Who knows? Small stuff. But I'm saying you have to push your comfort level because you need to focus. And that's why I'm sure on Monday they told you that in every single class you guys do, and Gary probably did it an hour ago, you need to figure out ways to add your database. If you don't have a sufficient database, you just are not going to sell enough houses unless you have some phenomenal other connection that 98%, I'd say, of your brethren in the business don't have. And some people do, but I'm telling you, they're 2%, 3%, 4% maybe of this whole industry. Most of us have to go out and find those connections. If you do it properly over time, they go from a cold prospect to a warm prospect, hopefully a hot prospect, but they get to where you're talking to them and they're your friend, you have a relationship. When people ask me, I tell them flat out, that's my goal. I said, I'm just trying to have a better relationship. I believe that you know, there's two, I don't know if you heard this yet, because you guys are doing it. There's two things that's going to lead to someone hiring you. And our veteran here will tell you, I guarantee she's going to nod her head when it says, people have to like you and they have to know you're competent. If they like you and they know you and all that stuff, or they wouldn't like you, and you're competent and they understand, they know you're competent, the odds of you being hired are tremendous. If you're great, but you're kind of an ass, you yelled at their kid on the soccer field. You're the best agent in town, probably not going to hire you. I had to be, and I'm sure I screwed that up because I was the vocal dad at 7 and 8 years old. I learned freaking kids, let them play, right? I was like my dad, my wife would start yelling at me, but that happens, right? And just the opposite. If you're the guy that's always helping little Billy out, I sent these kids ice cream cone things, and some agent told me that. I said, that's a great idea. I wrote every kid on the team. Man, you look great. I can't wait to see what you can do by the end of the season, blah, blah, blah. And here's an ice cream cone at Baskin-Robbins. I just went to the manager of Baskin-Robbins. He said, yeah, here. He just gave it to me. It cost me nothing. It cost me my time. And I wrote these little kids' notes. And they were thanking me. Parents love me. But if I had sold their friend's house and the friend said, that guy sucks, man. Whatever you do, don't even call that guy. They're not going to call him. You got to have them both. So when you're brand new, they don't know you're competent. So you need to act competent. You need to do things. If you have I don't know, I keep looking at you in the front row, or if you've got a group of girlfriends or people that you hang out with, depending on how you were yesterday or your career last week or last month or last year, or whatever you did before real estate, depending on how you carried yourself there, they might have a different opinion of you, right? I mean, I was in the military, I was officer in the Navy, and I found that I wasn't getting much out of the guys that I did business with. And I think it's because, we were young in our 20s and we traveled and we went out and drank a lot and stayed up late. It wasn't a professional image, even though at work I was very professional, but they saw me in another light. I think that's probably why it is. And one of the guys just referred me, a guy I worked with 32 years ago or something, just referred me. I just sold his best friend a house in Alpine for $1 million in December. So, you got to be aware of that. You got to be aware of what you're putting on Facebook. It's a different world out there right now. So if you want to succeed, because here's the thing, Jacqueline, is that how I say it?
Yes.
So your best friend may have a friend that you don't know, and she wants to refer a real estate agent, but maybe I don't know, maybe you're the gal that has a little bit too much to drink when you guys go out. Maybe you're the person that gets a little too, so that friend might use you, but she might not feel comfortable endorsing you to a third party. That's a huge thing. You know, we lose sight of that. It's one thing to say, yeah, tacos over there are good, right? You got to remember that. We work in a world where the commodity that we sell, people don't buy and sell it very often, and it's getting less, you know, there's more and more years now between. When I got in, they used to tell us like every 7 years. Well, it ain't every 7 years anymore, I can promise you that, on average. So they don't do it a whole lot, so it's a big, huge deal. The numbers now are ridiculously high, right? I mean, the average house around here is 750,000, not $250,000. It's a big, big deal for someone to put their name behind you. So you got to let them know that you're going to be perfect. However you do that, you just have to think about that. Figure out, okay, what image am I going to project? And you got to do that. I mean, it's just a truth, right? I had a second thought there. I don't know what. It went in and out of my head. Things pop around. Okay. Any questions on the importance and a couple of tips on how to start growing your database? Okay. So again, all that question, you still got to find pillars, right? You got to, whatever. My pillar is door knocking, geographic farming. This is my sphere. Now here's something I did. A coach taught me, or I've done the coaching, or that would be the KW match coaching. She told me an agent was doing this down in Texas. I thought it was great. I like, duh, why didn't I do this? So I'm out there farming. So I go out every month, 2 months, 3 months, and I'm knocking on someone's door. Honest to goodness, day in, day out, absolutely, positively, 20% do I get. Some days it's 18, some days it's 28. But I've got stats, I keep numbers. 20% of the people are going to answer the door. Over time, it's 15 of those 20% are the same people, right? Because they're the ones that are home. People that go to work aren't there when I'm out knocking doors. So what this coach told me, the idea was to take those people that I had that good rapport with and put them into this bucket also. This bucket is my sphere of influence. This is my 1,100 people. So this, before I started doing that, this bucket had about 400 people that were 85% past clients. And then there were those other people from the baseball team, from the Cub Scouts. You know, last week, the lady who was the den master for my kid in kindergarten, and my kid's a senior in high school now, so we're going back a few years, interviewed me to sell her house, okay? Because I've kept in touch with that lady. I've seen her 4 or 5 times over the years because her kid and my kid are at school together, but we've never had a conversation more than, hey, how's it going? But she's got my calls, she's got my notes, she's got my letter, she's got my invitations to an apple pie thing and blah, blah, blah. But 400-ish people, the idea I was told was graduate some of these people, that's how I think about it, into this thing, right? So I made a new script. That's the script I just told you, I do that at the door now. I say, hey, Ed, I appreciate your time every time I stop by. It seems like we got a good rapport. You didn't have any, you know, if I haven't asked before, I'm going to ask. And you'd be surprised. Some people will talk to you at the door all the time. I just had one of these. So and every time I talk, I stop by, it's like, hey, Ed, how's it going? Good to see you again. Oh, great. And I'm thinking this guy, dude loves me. It's great. It's all good. And I say, let me ask you if you had a real estate agent. He goes, oh, yeah, my best friend's an agent. Oh, so you'd have to refer the best friend. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Appreciate it. Never stopped by the guys. I stupidly was assuming just because he's being nice to me that therefore he's in my camp. He's not my camp. He's just a nice guy. He was a nice guy, but I don't need to waste time on nice guys. I'm trying to find business, right? So I started asking that same question that I asked when I met someone at the baseball field or out, you know, having dinner or whatever. I started asking that in my farm, again, at the right opportunity. Like the example I gave with Chris, if we have a good conversation, a really good conversation, I'm going to go for it right away. If not, I'm going to hope to catch him a second or third time. There's a new farm I just started. I've been through it twice. So the next time, anybody that I've talked to both of those first 2 times, I'm asking, unless they're answering the door with a phone in their hand or something. And I'm saying, hey, I enjoy your time. Every time I stop by here, I enjoy our little conversation. Would you mind if I did this? I'm going to put you on my client appreciation. What's the best number? I've got about 650 people from here to here. That's why that's 1,100 people. So you know what that means? I have 1,100 people with about 90%. Some give you a phone number and then they get rid of the landline over time, or they give you an email and then the email changes. But about 90, probably 92%, I'd guess, I've got their contact info. I've got their email. I didn't have any of that over here. Over here, all I knew is they lived at that house. And then sometimes they move. Sometimes they get, they just live at that house. That's all I know. So these people, now I contact, they still get my stuff when I'm out in the neighborhood, or I'm paying someone to deliver to the neighborhood, but now they're also getting a personal contact from me. And now they're going to get the apple pie invitation. I don't send it out to everybody in the farm. I only send it to the people that have said, yeah, Ed, here, keep in touch with me, right? That's just what I'm doing. So you want to figure out a way to make, no matter what your pillars are, one of your pillars, I would say, absolutely has to be a sphere of influence. Whatever you want to call it, that's what I was always taught, sphere of influence. I think that's what Gary calls it. I think he calls them METs in the Red Book. But you want to have a database. I'm going to suggest, and other people suggest different things. I don't get wrapped up in buyer, seller, hot, cold, this, that. The hot you want to extract from there and go, okay, I need to call them next Tuesday. But I wanted to have a database that I can call, I can mail, I can associate with pretty much the same message to everybody, pretty much. Because I don't want 4 databases. I don't want the buyer one I'm going to go send buyer emails to, and the seller. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're someone trying to do 100 deals or 200 deals, maybe you have staff that's going to do that. I need to do something that I can go order 5,000 postcards and they work for everybody. And when I make my calls, I'm making my calls. I started on Monday. Is that right? Yeah. I was supposed to start last week. Didn't happen. I started on Monday. And we'll get into my routine. But I'm telling everybody the exact same message. It's 95% of what comes out of my mouth is the same thing from one person to the next person, next person, next person. And at the end of the day, it's just me being nice. This call is the one I also ask for business. I do a couple things. So, and then these, again, so this is your sphere. We should probably label that bad boy, but that's your sphere. Sphere of influence. My recommendation is whatever your other pillars are, the goal is always to get them there. This is really the fun, right? This is, to me, these are the guys on the outside of the funnel that you're trying to capture. Once I capture them, I want them in my funnel. That makes sense? If you make this funnel big enough, you will have a good career. You got to remember, again, it's a weird business. I'm not going to get numbers, but if you get to the point where you're selling 20, 25, 30 houses, you're making $500,000 gross in San Diego, unless you're driving to the hood from here, which would be silly. To me, that's a lot of money. That's a good chunk of money. And I look at that number and I go, that's 2 or 3 houses a year. A month. It's not some crazy like, gee, if I start hitting grand slams all day long. It's really not. It's not a huge number. When I was doing double that number years ago, I was doubling my volume and making about half the money, right? Because the houses were 250 instead of 750. So you don't have to have a lot, but the competition's insane right now. So it's a lot tougher to get those people. So you need a bigger funnel to get those 10, 15, 20. And if you get up to that 20 mark, promise me you're going to be really happy, unless you have huge goals. You're going to be really happy. You're going to be making $250,000 and up, which I think is some good income. So that's my thing. So you figure these out, whatever they are. Maybe you're, like I said, maybe you're the social person and you're great. There's some people that are just great hosting parties. So you host more parties, but do it with a plan in place. Don't assume they came to your party, therefore they're going to tell you when their mom is moving. You will be, the other thing you got to get over quickly, you will be severely disappointed by people in this business. People that tell you one thing, people that you've known for years, people that you think are absolutely in your corner. Never, this is me talking, but never assume anyone is your client until they sign a contract with them. Don't rely on it. I don't care what people say. I can see it. The last year alone, I can tell you 4 or 5 stories of people I've known for 10, 15 years. And at the end of the day, they lied to my face. I'm shocked. I can't believe it. I'm pissed. That's just reality. You got to get over it. So again, a bigger funnel, it's easier to get over it, right? Gary, Betsy, right? Have you had anyone ever disappoint you? Yeah, people. So, you know, the one thing I train agents, this isn't the class, my 10 seconds on it is when there's an opportunity to get a contract signed, get it signed. I don't care when they're doing anything, get a contract signed. I have a contract they signed last June. They're not doing anything. But you know what, if they're doing something, I'm their guy because I got a piece of paper that says I'm their guy, right? I got 3 contracts that were signed November and December, and they're nice big contracts. They're still getting the houses ready. But I don't wait till the house is ready. Oh, you're ready to list it now. That's what the sellers think. That's what we've taught them to think. That's what a lot of agents think. Go out and get a contract signed and just put it, there's a clause, there's a form you fill out. Gary signs them all the time that says, you know, we're excluding it from the MLS because we're not really marketing the home right now because we're going to paint it, carpet it, and fix it and, you know, get the leak fixed and all that stuff. But don't assume that you're going to give them all that stuff and send them all your vendors and they're going to hire you. Because the reality of it is you can't, at the end of the day, some people are just asses. I know I'm on the camera there, but that's what some people are. But a lot of people aren't. And they're looking out for their best interest, right? So if they're doing all that stuff, and one of the things you suggested was paint the outside, and they're painting outside the house, and an agent like me is driving by, I'm going to go knock on the door. Yeah, so you guys painting the house. You thinking about selling the house? And maybe they're going, yep, and we're going to hire Jacqueline. Oh, have you hired her yet? No, she's going to be, I said, great. Yeah, I got this buyer that would love to be in this neighborhood. If I brought him by, would that even be okay with you? And some people will remember to call Jacqueline and some people won't. And they're looking out for their best interest. On $1 million house, they think they don't call you, they just save themselves $30,000 or $25,000. So you can get pissed off, but sometimes you can't really blame them. It's big money right now. Commissions are big money, right? So just try your best to not allow that to happen to you, right? Try your best. It doesn't always work, but try your best. Just don't assume. Trust me, because every one of you, if you're still in the business a year from now, I promise you, and it's an open invitation, you can come to my office and you will have a story where someone that you could have sworn they said this and they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And it cost you money. I promise you, 1 year guaranteed. Okay, Connect. So Connect is, to me, again, they're on this question, on page 19, they're talking about really digging into these people and, you know, tell me a little about your family, your job, your life. What are you looking for? What are you doing? Those are good questions, but they have to be asked at the appropriate time. If it's the person I met at the soccer field or the baseball field, and all I'm doing is getting them on my database, and here's the response I get from a lot of people. They go, we're never moving. I go, okay, great. And some of my best clients never move, but I'd love the opportunity if your friend's making a move, or you hear someone at work that's making a move. I would just like to show you, I know what I'm doing. And you know, then you can refer somebody with confidence. Most people go, oh, okay, that's great, because now they just took the pressure off themselves. Now, they're not planning to move, but they don't know. There's been many people that the spouse came home and they're moving. Whether it was a job, whether it was a divorce, God forbid it was a death, things happen in people's lives where they don't think they're moving. There's a house on my farm last year that the people bought it in March, and in November it was on the market. And I called the agent I know real well. She actually used to work here years ago. I said, what the hell's going on? She said, they got a job transfer. Lucky for them, the market was screaming along, so they got out of it okay. Trust me, in March, they weren't thinking they're moving 7 months later. Things happen, but just put them at ease. Oh, that's okay. Some of my best clients never move, but you know, I'd love to still have that connection, you know, and try to get that info. You know, try to make it not unpleasant. It's simple. Give them a bet. That's why I always tell people, don't worry, I'm just going to call you a couple times a year, and I'm going to check in with you and ask you if you know somebody. Because I've already asked them, right? Do you know anybody I can help? You know, that's part of my spiel. Now I'm just saying, I'm just going to check in. Maybe you run across somebody else kind of wanting to check in. I believe, you know, some people, I'll go further and I'll say, you know what, to me, this whole business is developing relationships. That's why I'm at your door. How many people come to your door? The answer is 0. I know the answer is 0. Nobody's out doing what I'm doing right now. So if you want to be like someone else, like different than everybody else, go knock on doors. There's like a handful of agents that are left doing it. And I let them know, I'm here to develop a relationship. I know you're not going, man, that'd be weird. Some people go, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I go, oh my God, that would be weird if I just knocked on your door and you said you're moving. I say, and then I just go back into my spiel, right? So the connect thing, to me, what they're saying is really, this is the nurturing part of those people in your funnel. So now we've got them in our funnel, right? From some course, again, I strongly suggest you have at least 3 sources. And again, if you haven't read it, go read Gary's book, the Red Book. He talks about 20 different sources. Go, maybe you're going to go the divorce attorney route, or you're going to go the estate attorney route, or you're going to go door knock like me, or you're going to make cold calls. So figure it out. Do some research. How sustainable is this? Like a big thing in Keller Williams is calling expired listings. How many expired listings do you think there were in San Diego in the last 12 months? I have no clue, but I think it was probably a pretty low number. So if you're making your living, if you have this only and it's expired listings, you were probably knocking it out of the park 10 years ago. I don't think right now you're bagging it, Hans. If your whole thing, there was a guy, I had an REO account in 2008 for like 3 years. There's another guy in the office, and the guy was just crushing it. And I was talking to a manager one day. I said, I never even heard of this guy. She goes, that's all he does. She goes, when the REOs go away, he has no business. But somehow he had like 3 guys he knew from the old days that were all asset managers. Those are the guys that controlled the listings at the banks. And when those REOs were flowing, this guy was just getting them like crazy. I got a guy out of my funnel who became an asset manager. And I did 110 sales on REOs. I was an REO agent. One guy I followed up with. And you know what, just to give you guys an example of persistence, I'm not trying to stand up here and say, I'm great. I'm trying to give you examples to encourage you when you get to roadblocks. And unless you're not human, you're going to have a lot of mental I had a horrible email this morning. It pissed me off. And it took me a good hour. I'm still not 100% over it, but it happens. I've been doing it for 3 decades, okay? So go back in time, probably 2007. I'm selling some guy's house in Carmel Mountain Ranch. And I'm like, where are you going? I'm going to Austin, Texas. Dallas, Texas. What do you do? I'm an asset manager for GMAC. Honest to goodness, and maybe you don't either because you weren't in the business back then, I didn't know what an asset manager was. I didn't. Those were 2. I know what a manager was. I know what an asset is. I didn't know what he's even talking about. I said, oh, cool. What do you do? Well, I work for GMAC, and when they get a foreclosure, there's 2 of us here in town. When they get a foreclosure, I'm the guy who kind of handles it. I kind of manage the foreclosure and get it sold. Okay. And he goes, yeah, there's talk, I'm getting promoted. There's talk that, we're going to get more of these and more. Now, 2007, we're like still screaming along. I got him a great price on his house, but the people in the know that things are about to fall apart. I don't know. I'm just selling houses. Anyway, the guy moves to Texas, and I think I sold the house around this time. It was probably like January, February timeframe. So probably about August. I think it was 707. Maybe this is 08. Anyway, about August, I'm like, starting to see some of these foreclosures start popping up. I wonder if I should call this guy. His name's Patrick. So I called Patrick and I said, hey, it's Ed, your old real estate guy, blah, blah, blah. I said, remember we talked about you being an asset manager? He goes, yeah. I go, do you guys got things out in San Diego that I can help with? Is there something I could do? And he goes, yeah. I still got 2 guys out there. Because now he's the manager of these 2 guys that replaced him. He goes, I'll tell him to give you a call. And he goes, I can't promise you because it's up to them who they hire, but I'll put a good word in for you because you did a good job for me. I said, great. Nothing happens. Nothing. No phone call from Patrick, no phone call from Schmuck 1 and Schmuck 2, and nothing. About 3 months go by, so it's like October-ish. I call Patrick again. Hey, Patrick, is that just checking in with you? You know those guys who are going to call? No one ever called. Really? You told him to call. Man, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell him again. He goes, you're going to get a call. Nothing. Absolutely, I mean, crickets, nothing. So I just go back to work. And honest to goodness, it's the first day I'm going to work in January of 2008. So it's like the second or right? New Year's, I don't remember the calendar that year, but it's the second or third. Honest to goodness, as I'm getting ready for work, I'm literally getting dressed to go to work, and I thought, I should call Patrick. And here's my thought. I teach this to my kids. My thought was, right now with Patrick, I'm at a no, right? I got nothing. I'm at a no. How much effort is it for me to make a phone call? I'm at a no. The worst case, the worst thing that happens is he says no, right? That's where I already am, right? I mean, this is a huge thing I teach my kids. If this is crappy news, but there's a chance you could make it good, it's already crappy. Who cares? So I called him, and I thought, because it still goes through your head, and I thought, okay, there's one of two things happening. Either he's just blowing me off. He's just being nice, and there's a lot of people like that in the world. So I'm not going to say there's anything. There's a lot of people that will say yes to you, that will be polite to you, they'll do this, and they're never going to give you any business. They're just being nice. I got a lender who called me today. I'm never giving him any business, but you know what? I like to think I'm a good guy. I'm going to call the guy back and politely let him know, don't waste your time on me. Spend your time chasing someone else, because I've already got my lenders lined up 2, 3, 4 deep, right? I don't want to waste that guy's time, and he's working. He's making his calls like I make my calls. So anyway, I call Patrick up because either he's blowing me off, or there's a legitimate disconnect between him and these people in San Diego. Maybe they don't want to use me. Maybe they got somebody else. Maybe they're going, screw Patrick. Maybe I have no idea. So I call him and I said, hey, Patrick, happy New Year. How's the family? Great, blah, blah, blah. Hey, no one's ever called me. He's like, you're shitting me. That day a guy called me, and in the next 3.5 years, I did $662,000 worth of business from that phone. I'm not bragging. Put that in your head when you get discouraged. It may not all be a $662,000 phone call, but think about that. I'm already at a no. It's I don't know, a minute of my time. I got to look up his phone number. I got to dial, and I got to have a conversation. He could have just said, sorry, it didn't work out. That's it. I mean, he's a nice guy. He would have said something nice, but it didn't. That day, someone called me back. The next week, I got a listing. From like April until November of that year, that's when Obama went into office, and he stopped foreclosures for a few months because it was crazy and all that. But I averaged a listing a week for like 6 months, which for me was a lot of business. I wasn't one of these huge REO agents getting hundreds and hundreds of deals, but that was a lot of business. And quite frankly, for the agents that were selling homes in 2008, a lot of them saw their business probably go down like 2/3, and mine doubled, right? So it was good. Anyway, don't be bashful. Get over it. Whatever fear you got, it's just a phone call. It's just a knock on the door. The FISBO, you're driving by. Should I stop? They probably don't want to see me. Who cares? Stop the car. Go knock on the door. Maybe put them in your thing here. Maybe get an appointment. Maybe do something. I promise you, though, you keep driving, nothing will happen. I promise you that. That FISBO is not going to know that Jacqueline Hooper drove by and really wanted to talk to him. It's not going to happen, right? So I'm being your conscience here, yelling at you if you want to get in this business. Okay, close. I don't want to talk a whole lot about that. I mean, a little bit. I mean, we're talking about finding the business, but the close part here is really, you're going for the appointment. So that's when you've got to be able to ask for an appointment. And the other thing you learn, and it took me way too many years to learn, is you cannot sell anything over the phone. You can get in the door over the phone, but no one owes you a nickel by anything they said over the phone. So try to be less like Ed and more like closing for the appointment, and try to just get to the point where you can go face to face. Because remember, they got to like me and I'm competent. It's hard to get someone to like you over the phone. They can be open to you. They can think, oh, I should meet this person. But they're not really going to like you. We've all heard, these studies now, they're saying it's like less than a second before they make the first impression or something crazy. You can't do that on the phone. You can lose the deal on the phone, There's a lot of things you can do negative on the phone, but the goal of the phone is to get in front of somebody 95% of the time. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes the person's out of, I sold my house last year. The lady was in Maine, and she was in Maine the whole time I sold my house. So we had a chat on the phone. That's the exception. But most people, you want to close for the appointment. That make sense? Okay. So, they're giving you, 10 different names of closes. Read those things, learn those things, study those things. I'm not going to go through all those things. The main thing is, to me, is you need to give that person a reason to invite you into the house. Whatever it is. I'd love to show you that thing I was talking about. It sounds like we got a lot of stuff we could discuss. How about I stop by? Sometimes it's, what? I've got some buyers. Maybe your house works. 10 minutes, I promise you, unless you want to have a bigger conversation, I'm in, I'm out. I just would love to say hi and take a quick look, see what you got, right? Whatever it is, you got to get in there and do your thing. That make sense? So the close word. The cultivate really, what they're talking about here is whether you put them in a funnel and they're here now. That's really the cultivate. Or you did a deal with them. But either way, you want to get that person to like you more, to want to refer you more. So what I've determined, and this worked in, markets change. When I got in the business, agents gave out pumpkin pie recipes, right? You go to the Midwest, they probably still do that. They think it's nice. Oh, it's nice. This is a nice thing. I think because the competition here, I need to send them something that says, I'm successful in real estate. Now, you guys might not have a whole bunch of sales. You can still do that by grabbing some sales from the office. We closed 2. First of all, Gary, please correct me. We have the expert in the room. But if it's a closed sale, it's fair game. You can grab the data and you can say 1, 2, 3 Mockingbird closed, and here's the price. You just can't make it appear that you sold that house if you didn't sell the house, right? You got to put a little disclaimer on there. That's one of the ways you start giving the impression that you're doing something. People aren't getting down there and reading that disclaimer. They're not getting into a fine tune. But be careful. Don't make the postcard look like you did it if you didn't do it. But you can say sales in your neighborhood, recent activity in your neighborhood, stuff like that. Yes.
You mentioned it was your office that closed it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do you have to disclaim that it's not actually you don't own the office?
You can say sales in Keller Williams Realty, right?
What you have to do is you have to say the date that the sales were and that they were sold by various agents. And once you do that, various offices and.
Right, but I think what he's saying is, could he go out and say, sold by my office?
Sure.
But you still have to make the bottom disclaimer because you still didn't do it.
Okay.
You can't, my understanding is you can't make the public think that if I list 5 properties on a marketing piece and my name's on it, that therefore I sold those 5 houses. I didn't sell them. I've got to put a disclaimer that I might not have sold them.
Yeah, you have to let them assume as much as you can.
Let people assume whatever they want to assume. I'm really huge on the ethics of not misleading them. If you did this stuff proper, you're not. I don't like, some agents will put stuff out and they'll make their name and the word sold look as if they sold these things. To me, that's wrong. And I don't need to lecture you guys on that. If you look at it, you can clearly see which ones are misleading and which ones aren't. I just put something together and it says recent activity in your neighborhood. It doesn't say anything about my name's further on the postcard, but it doesn't say, it doesn't say Ed sold activity in the neighborhood and then disclaim that I might not have really sold, but it doesn't do any of that. The disclaimer to me is bogus if up here you're making it look like you sold them. It says, Bob sales, and then down below you define Bob sales may include sales not by Bob. That's bogus, right? So a lot of it's coming, but if you're in doubt, Gary or someone on his staff, I'm sure will review. And if you got a marketing piece, say, hey, is this in compliance? As an office, we'll be glad to look at it, right?
Sure.
We want to have a professional reputation out there in the field. A lot of agents really don't care. They rather break the rule, get slapped on the wrist, and go about their business. That's not what we're about. So,
You put the disclaimer, how small does it have to be? Does it have to be really clear or?
it's pretty small.
Well, most people put it on pretty small. It's not like the BRE saying it can't be this small.
I've never seen a rule. I mean, I think it logically has to be legible, right? Like I say, if you have any doubt, just bring it by, and Gary or whoever, because it'll take them like 3 seconds to look at it. So it's not like you're taking up all their time. But you can certainly Google the local board and have a clue what the rules are, so you're not wasting their time. But we want things proper, so yeah, when in doubt, just ask. Again, it's the same culture we have at the management level as the agent level. We're here to help each other, but don't come to me with the font size. I don't know. I can tell you on mine, they're not real big, and I'm pretty sure mine are in compliance. But there are font size rules when you get to business cards and when you get to signs, right? But I'm talking about a postcard or a flyer or something you're putting together, okay? So the cultivate. So now we've got all these things funneled into here, into our funnel. And now we got to do something with that. That's where, it doesn't even say it here, but that's where your 33 touch comes up, right? Have you heard that thing? No. Okay, so you'll hear about that. Basically, if you haven't done it yet, the best real estate book you can find is going to be the, what's it called? The
MREA. Millionaire Real Estate.
MREA. It's a red book. Gary Keller wrote it 10, 15 years ago. He went out and interviewed 20, 30, 40 of the absolute top agents throughout the country, compiled. Some of the book will be way beyond what you need to worry about, so you just skip that stuff. It talks about, doing $1 million in sales, having $1 million team, and making $1 million, and having 12 people working for you. You don't need to spend your time on that, unless that's what you're gonna do. There's 25 and 27-year-olds in Keller Williams right now. They graduated college and put together business plans, and their business is a real estate team. And they're knocking it out of the park. But if that's not me. So if that's not you, don't worry about that stuff. There's no quiz, there's no test on it. Go focus on the stuff. They talk about they call it a 7th level open house. And it's great tips. Go in and learn that stuff. Learn that book. It tells you stuff to do. It tells you when you should have an assistant, what they should be doing. It's a really, really good book. But one of the things he talks about is through his studies, he's determined that you want to be in contact with people 33 times over the course of a year. So he calls it a 33 touch. You're touching them. In the old days, there was you'll know the name of Joe Stuff. Remember Joe Stuff with the drip system. He called it a drip system. And his thing was, you drip it on me. You send them a postcard, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. So they know your name. You seem recognizable. By the time they're having a conversation with you, they're going, oh yeah, I know you. Well, you know me because you saw my postcard and you threw it out 22 times. And you don't even know why you know me. That's what happens. Okay? That's what happens. That's reality.
And you get those come listening calls.
Yeah, I've seen you. I just met some people, and they I started a new farm, and they said, and I'd like 3 or 4 of them going, oh yeah, I see your stuff all over here. I've never sold a house in that farm.
That's right.
But I've sold up there, and I've sold down there, and they see my stuff. Okay, that's fine with me. That's right. I like to have a little fun with mine. So this is stuff I just started a few years ago, but like I said, I give out joy and apple pies on the 4th of July. So they come to this room, they have to come to me, they have to order an apple pie. I actually go and buy them, I coordinate with the company, I pick them up fresh from the Joy and Pie Company that day, and people come get them the 2nd or 3rd of July, whatever day I set up. I give out little certificates for Christmas trees. There's little things you can do to have a little bit of fun with it, and it's kind of a value to them, right? See, the beauty when I give out my apple pies, so you don't get freaked out, because they cost $16 a pop, and every 10 you get 11th one free, is 1,100 people don't tell me they want an apple pie, right? Because 1,100 people would, oh my God, that would be expensive. But I get about 100, so I spend about $1,500 on it. A year and a half ago, 18 months ago, I had a guy, very quiet guy. His kid was the worst kid on my 12-year-old's baseball team. But that's fine. Quiet kid, quiet mom and dad. I did my thing. Met him, did the whole baseball season, last game or 2. I went up and did my mayor campaign, exactly what I just told you. And he said, yeah, sure, keep in touch. I got their info, and I called them 2 or 3 times a year. I probably spoke to them once a year, the other times for a message. And 2 4th of Julys ago, he says, sure, yeah, I'd like an apple pie. And he forgets to come get it. A lot of people forget, because it's just an apple pie, right? So they say, I'm busy or forgot, whatever. And I reminded him. So in the old days, I'd get pissed off, and I don't get pissed off. And I say, well, I got all these extra apple pies. And
Hey, we forgot to tell Ed that every time he cusses, he's gonna donate $10 to
there
Keto.
you go.
That's why we.
Is this the cuss word? I only used the word ass once, now twice. Anyway, it gets through the screeners on TV. But anyway, long story short, I have all these extra apple pies. They're big. I don't really want them. So what I did was I packed up and I said, okay, all the local people, I'm just going to go buzz. I think the next day literally was the 4th of July. I'm just going to buzz through the local people. If they're home, I'll give them their pie. So I drive over and I give this guy his apple pie. He's out in the front yard. He goes, oh my God, you didn't have to do this. And I said, oh my God, you can't have 4th of July without your Julian apple pie. And I made it a big deal. I give him his apple pie. About 3 weeks later, he calls me with a buyer referral. The guy had tried to buy a house the day before and didn't get it. It was the third house he didn't get with this particular agent. So he's screaming upset that this agent isn't taking care of him. He's complaining to his friend. His friend says, well, you got to call this guy. He doesn't know me. He knows I'm a dad from baseball, and he knows that I keep in touch. That's really all he knows. He knows for the last probably like 4 years, I sent him a postcard, I've done this, and he knows I gave him a Julian apple pie. That's really all he knows. He doesn't know really how confident I am, but he must think I'm confident enough from my postcards to refer him, right? You with me? I am super strict with this buyer when the buyer calls because I find out that he just wrote an offer yesterday, right? I don't break ethics. I don't do stuff. And he's ranting and raving about this agent. I said, okay, do you have a contract with the agent? You guys will learn about those later. There's kind of like a listing for a seller. You can have contract with buyers. Highly recommend. Nope, I don't. And I said, you sure? He goes, yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got an email because I was so mad. I sent him an email last night telling him I'm done with him. I don't want to do anything with it. And he responded and said, I understand. Good luck with your home search. I said, oh, great. Send me that email, and I'm going to send you a contract. You sign that contract that says you're working with me. That was pretty bold moves. I never even met the guy. But I'm always a little leery when you're bouncing around between agents. So I said, you sign that thing, you do this, and first thing I'll do is I will do everything I can to find out why you didn't get that house. Wow, you'll do that? Yep, boom. Honest to goodness, within an hour, everything's signed. I got the paperwork back from him. I've also got the email from the other agent effectively canceling the relationship. I'm fine ethically. I'm good. I called the agent on the other house and blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember what she tells me, but they didn't do this, they didn't do that, and we had 4 offers. I said, okay, I know this never happens, but if something happens to go sideways, please keep my name and number. My guy really likes the house. We go forward. Twice I show the guy houses. 2.5 weeks go by. The agent calls me. Their deal just fell apart. My guy's still interested. I sold him the house that he didn't get, but with my name on it for the same price he was going to pay. And then I went in and I crushed the seller and got him like a $6,000 repair credit that he never would have got with this other unique agent. And he's ecstatic. Okay? Because I brought the guy, I think because I brought the guy an apple pie. Maybe he would have called me anyway, I don't know. But it's top of mind. It's recent activity.
And it builds some sense of obligation. When you give somebody something, they want to give something back to you. And so it does, it builds a sense of obligation.
So here's what I'm doing right now.
Let me just say something before you go too much further. Be very careful in doing what Ed just said, because the other agent could have come after him for procuring costs. Now, luckily, that agent didn't follow up or do whatever, but he originally showed that property, he would have been procuring costs.
He maybe would have been procuring costs.
Now, you're right, they had to.
Well, you got to remember the definition and I'm not going to argue with you, but the definition as I understand it is that there has to be an unbroken chain of events. And to me, the break was when the buyer lost complete faith in the agent, expressed it to the agent acknowledged it. Because here's the deal, and this is where we go back to what I was saying like 20 minutes ago about how people are you're going to think they lied to you. There's this ridiculous thought in our business, and I'm glad Gary brought that up because I think this is a ridiculous thought, even though we all have had it. That if I go meet Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer, and I go, yeah, let's go look at houses, and I go show them a house, and then I don't hear back from them. Something goes sideways, whatever. Could be a week, a month, doesn't matter. And then I later find out they bought a house that I showed to them. So you can make the argument, well, I showed them that house, okay? They don't have an obligation to me. Maybe I'm a putz, right? Because I put you in my car or you followed my car and I drove there. I might have walked through the house and said the stupidest things in the world, like, oh man, whatever. The roof's sagging, it's got this problem, it's got this, whatever. And they thought, this guy's a bozo. There are morons in this business. There are people, I'm serious. The problem with real estate, in my humble opinion, is and hopefully this isn't any of you, but it could be, it's a very, very, very low barrier of entry. To pass a real estate, the day I took my test, in May, it will be 30 years ago, I walked out of there and I said, oh my God, a 10th grader can pass this test if they prepare. I promise you my 10th graders can easily pass that test. If I said, here's a bunch of test questions, go study these things, go take this test. First of all, you can get 25% of the test wrong and you pass. To get a broker's license, you can get 50 questions wrong. In the old days, I don't know, it was a 200 question test when I took it. 50 questions wrong and still be blessed as a broker and you can run a real estate company. That's shocking to me. I don't think the bar exam's quite that way. So there's people out there that aren't the brightest and this and that. So if a buyer just met someone and then they have no faith in that person, do you think the law is going to say you're obligated to buy a house through a person you don't trust at all and represent you in the biggest transaction you're ever going to do? No. So, but do be careful. That was a very, very, I've never had that happen before in my career. It was very unique that I sold him the same house that he was all pissed off that he didn't get. But it happened. Things happen. Things happen. Okay. So cultivate. Figure out a way you're going to cultivate that, right? You're going to do, like I do some e-edge. You guys will learn about that. It'll be drilled in your head. So I get some emails go out automatically. I do mailings. I do calls. I do some fun events, right? You need to be in touch. You need to have a reason to call people, right? I don't want, in my particular case, I believe I don't want my reason to be real estate every time I call because I think that annoys people over time. It was probably fine 20 years ago, but now they just get hit. They're getting hit by 1,000, so many things they get hit by. You guys all have houses, you guys get mail, right? US Postal Service. How many real estate solicitations do you get on a regular basis, right? I'm gonna guess quite a few, right? I'm taking off a lot of agents lists and I'm still getting, handfuls every single week. So it's a different world out there. So figure out what those things are. I give you I do 2 things that are kind of like giveaways. But I call people, my goal, I might do 4 this year, because it takes me a long time to call 1,100 people. But 2 of my calls are simple. Hey, I'm just following up, see if you want to join an apple pie, right? Because I sent them out a note, I sent them an email, now I'm calling. Because I believe that me offering an apple pie to the 900 people that don't want one is still a nice thing, right? If I called you and offered you a joint apple pie, you might, so I get some of the people go, I've had 2 people go, oh, I make my own, so no thanks, or I can't eat all the sugar, but thank you. It's a nice thing. And I don't call up and say, hi, do you want to move? Do you know anybody? I don't do all that. They know that I'm the real estate guy. I'll remind them I'm the real estate guy. If he vets someone that I met at the door a couple times, I'm going to say, hi, it's Ed Orenstein, the real estate guy. That's my name, right? I don't get into, I work at Keller Williams and we're great and this, because I've already done all that at another time. But my calls right now that I'm making as soon as I stop talking here is, and I'm doing my whole database, is I'm calling people and I have 2 messages. Message 1 is Happy New Year. It's New Year. Now I called all these people in late November, early December. It takes me a month to call 1,000 people. And I called them and I wished them all happy holiday season. Some people I called right before Thanksgiving. The little script changed a little bit depending on Thanksgiving already started or happened or not happened, whatever. So now I'm saying Happy New Year, and I'm saying, this is a new script for me, but I've done a variation of it. So I'll just run through it. So if I called, if you answer the phone, I'd say, hi, Ed Orenstein, the real estate guy. Just calling to wish you and Bob a Happy New Year. Hope it's off a great start for you. Usually you're going to go, yeah, it's good. We're doing good. Great. Glad to hear it. Hey, the other thing I wanted to do while I got you is I want to share with you my goal this year. I have a goal to help 50 families buy a home, and I slow it down so they're really getting in, buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate. Who do you know I can talk to right now? I shut up. Most of them don't know anybody. Some of them, well, maybe. My second day of calls, which was 3 days ago, the lady says, oh my God, I can't believe you just called. I said, well, now this is a lady I have not spoken to in 7 years. I met her in the farm. She gave me her contact info. I kept in touch. She's been getting my mailings and my droppings for 7 years. She says, I can't believe you just called. I said, oh, what's up? She goes, tomorrow I'm going to Arizona. Like she's there right now. She goes, this is Tuesday of this week. She goes, tomorrow I'm going to Arizona because last week I just took a buyout at my company. My last day of work is April 1st. And my husband's last day is March 1st. We're moving. And I said, you doing the California cash out? And she goes, we sure are. So they're going to go buy, 250 grand. They're going to go get the Taj Mahal out in Arizona. And I said, fantastic. So when you're back? Oh, you're back Saturday, maybe Sunday. I said, how about I follow up with you Monday, get together and, see what it all looks like. She goes, oh yeah, that'd be great. I don't know if she's going to hire me, but now she's at the bottom of that funnel, right? I mean, she's down there. So I ought to be able to get the appointment on Monday and get out there, and at least I have the opportunity. Now, maybe she's going to have a best friend. Maybe she's going to have this. Maybe she's going to have that. But she's the one that said, I'm glad you called. Great timing, right? Back to my script. So I'm going to ask you, anybody? You're probably going to say no. I said, great. Yvette, can I count on your support that when you do hear someone anywhere in the county that you'll call me with their name and number? I'm trying to get a little bit commitment out of you. That doesn't mean a damn thing unless it means something to her. And I'm telling you, a lot of people say yes and they don't mean yes. But I'd rather they say yes than not put that on them. And one lady I asked, I guess on Monday, her name was Adam, so she's at the top of the list. And she said, I gotta be honest, the next door neighbor, I'm like best friends with her, and she got her license. And I already lost one deal to the next door neighbor because the guy across the street, his wife, they're all good friends. What can you do? That's what happens. People get real estate licenses all the time. So she told me that, and I said, great. So I took her off my database. But if I don't ask that, I'm spending time sending them stuff. I'm giving them apple pies, I'm giving them Christmas trees and all that. I want to know that stuff. So anyway, that's my script. And I'm asking people, I'm letting them know I made up 50. 50 sounds good to me. That would be great. And I'm just asking for their support. And then I'm reminding them the way I want to get a referral. I don't want them telling their friend, call Ed. I want them to say, call Ed, and can I give Ed your phone number? Because then Ed calls them, because they don't call when you say call Ed. They call very rarely. They lose the number, something happens, right? So that's your cultivate. But I'm going to do that now at the beginning of the year, and then my next call is going to be, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. The summer's right around the corner. I'm going to talk about if the Padres won a game. Hey, Padres won one, whatever. I'm going to be Mr. Friendly and offer them an apple pie. And then maybe I'm going to call in the fall. Maybe I'm not sure yet, but I'm definitely going to call for the holidays. I'm not going to say anything about real estate other than, hey, it's Ed Orenstein, the real estate guy. Hey, I just want to take a moment. Wish you and your family a great holiday season. Hope you guys have a lot of fun, blah, blah, blah. Right? They know I'm a real estate guy. So that's your cultivate. Whatever that looks like for you. And then I'm starting to do other stuff, right? I'm starting to put these people on Facebook. And I'm starting to put out something nice on Facebook. Oh, the sky is beautiful. Albert Einstein, whatever, quotes. And I got I'm laughing because I don't even know what I put out because I don't even do it. My sister does it. She puts out every Monday, she puts something nice. Every Thursday, I think it's Thursday, she puts out an event happening in San Diego, right? There was a whole bunch of that stuff at the holidays. She popped one out, said, Balboa Park, Festival of Lights, here's all the info. And then on Fridays, we put a little plug in about real estate. Last Friday, I did my very first video ever, webcam. Did my first one. So, but I got like 190 something likes on it, so whatever. Okay, so you're gonna cultivate. Okay. Any questions? I'm just bouncing around. Yoni, man with the beard back there? Okay, your turn, sphere of influence. So again, 24, you guys should really take page 24 out of your book and put it on a clipboard. And I would say on this weekend, I would look at each one of those 15 categories they give you, one of them's other, and just start figuring out who those people are. That's what this is all about. This is about jogging your memory. Maybe you get down to the third one and it says church club volunteer, and you go, oh yeah, I did that blood drive last year and I met that one lady. We walked the dogs. I think I got her number on text, right? You track it down. When you're starting out, it takes you time, energy, effort to figure out who you can contact. Right? You don't have, I don't think you have a list of 1,100 people like I do. I just walk in my office, hit a button, and I start calling people. You've got to start doing, this is work. So this is just, that's all this thing is when it says my sphere. This is your memory jogger, right? So this is to me, if I'm in your shoes, this is a work page. You pull out of your book or your Xerox with the original back of the book, and you start writing down people, you start thinking, or maybe you start scrolling through your text messages, and you start thinking, who did I volunteer with in that 3rd grade class last year with little Billy? There was that other mom. Oh yeah, Mary. Where's Mary's number? That's what you do. That's what you do. Remember, if you do 20 of these people sell a house, you're going to go, holy crap, I'm making money. Right? Right? You guys with me on that? That's what you do. You got to build that database. Okay, so that's a good one. Page 23 is kind of a different visual of the same thing, right? It's just showing you, okay, who do I know about this and that. The idea is you want to get in people's heads that even if they're not moving, you want them to refer you to some, right? So you're trying to meet them, and then all these people that they know, and now I've heard crazy numbers that everybody in the world knows 320 other people or something like that. I'm not so sure on that number, but they know other people. Okay, that's all you need to know. Your dentist, if you got a friendly report, my dentist is on my database now. He wasn't on my database, he was on, then he wasn't on, now he's back on, okay? He tells me he's gonna buy $1 million, $1.5 million house next year, so we'll see. But my dentist knows people. And it turns out I sold some guy I met, and everything was with the guy. I barely knew the wife. And then the wife started working for the dentist I go to. So now she's another dentist there. So now I've got cred, right? I helped her buy a home. So now when this guy talks to her, she loves me. These things happen, right? So anyway, you just have to start thinking about who it is. And maybe some people you have to figure out a way. Maybe they're not the most approachable person, but if it's someone that you think would give you the time of day, and again, unless you think it's a huge negative, assume they would. Don't start, oh, Mary would never do that. I don't know, Mary. Get all that crud out of your head and don't. You want to hear the craziest story? And again, I keep going to Betsy because she's been around like me. This is the craziest story, and I'm going to guess that Betsy doesn't even have one of these stories. I've seen one person in my life, okay? I did a deal, whatever, 10, 15 years ago, and there was a newer, it was like an 8-year-old, 10-year-old subdivision, and what's really big in real estate, if your subdivision or your condo is less than 10 years old, there's entire firms of lawyers that they're called construction defect litigation. And they don't really care if anything's right or wrong, or if anything's really wrong. They just go sue the builder because under the state of California, the builder's responsible for 10 years. They find things, they make up things, whatever, they're attorneys, right? I don't have the greatest faith in them. Anyway, there was a whole bunch of foreclosures, or not foreclosures, but a whole bunch of people jumping on this lawsuit in this particular subdivision in Carmel Mountain Ranch. And I was at one point, I had 50% market share. So a lot of people were calling me, going, what do you think? Should we do this? Should we not do this? I said, no, it's not going to be really good when it first happens. But if a lot of people do it, it'll kind of be the norm, and you might get some money, blah, blah, blah. So fast forward 3, 4, 5 years after they've done it, they all made $7 grand, $8 grand, $10 grand, right? You've been through these, right? So I get a listing call, basically come list me, and when I look up the guy's name, I know he is the plaintiff in a class. I don't know if you guys know class action lawsuits, right? It's a whole bunch of people suing, but they have one plaintiff. It's the lead something, and there's a name for it, but they're the lead plaintiff. I don't know what the name is, but there's one person, and then there's everybody else, right? I just got $10.08 from a lawsuit against Bank of America or something. I mean, the things are a joke. The attorneys make millions, and they have 50,000 people that all get $12. That's how these things work. They're crazy. They're ridiculous. But on the construction defect, you get thousands of dollars. So anyway, this guy did it. So I'm walking in going, I got to watch this guy, right? Because I know these houses. I had sold at that time, I had probably sold 70 of these homes in that little subdivision. So I go in, and before I even sit down at the kitchen table, I asked the guy, I said, I forget his name. I said, so I know you were the lead plaintiff in that lawsuit. So what, God, you must have had a lot of problems. What specific problems have you had in your house? And honest to goodness, the guy looks at me, and I guess I can't say it, he does a blank eating grin, and kind of laughs and goes, I got nothing, but you know, you get money. And I think the lead person gets more. I think they pay the guy to put his name on there or something. I don't know all that for sure. Then I'm really worried. Then, my brain's, before my butt's even sitting in the seat, is like, do I want to do business with this guy? I'm thinking, he called me, it's in my farm, it's like a big house. I think I sold the house when he bought the house. And I'm really in a quandary, and I kind of, our ego gets the best of us sometimes. I thought, yeah, okay. And you know what you're dealing with, to be careful, right? So I go ahead, take the listing. 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, I get an offer on the property. The offer doesn't come together. About a week later, the guy calls me and he's like, this ain't working. We're not going to move. We changed our mind. I want you to cancel. I want you to cancel. I want you to cancel. I'm like, no, we're not canceling. I got a contract. Blah, blah, blah. No, and then in the back of my mind going, you knew this guy's kind of an ass. So maybe, sorry. Maybe you don't want, I don't like negative energy. So I gave in. About 5 weeks go by, I get this phone call from the agent who brought me the offer 2 months before. Hey, you know what's going on over there? I said, going on over where? On Tradition. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, you remember that offer I brought you? Yeah. He goes, my buyer's buying that house. I said, it's not on the market. He goes, I know. My buyer's buying that house. Because they got in bed with the seller. They're doing this deal. I'm like, here. And it pissed me off. And completely illegal. I mean, they're not supposed to do that, blah, blah, blah. So ironically, the boss of my company, the owner of the real estate company I'm working at, because I got it out of my head fairly quickly, and I just said, I'm just going to go find someone else and move forward, because what am I going to do? I don't know. It sounds like a big hassle to me. So I'm talking to the boss. He just happens to call me because it was my birthday or something, because he calls like once a year. And what's going on? I said, I just heard this, and I just heard it. He goes, oh, you can't do that. You've got to go sue these people. He goes, it's easy. Go to small claims court. It costs like $35 to do it. And if nothing else, you'll learn about the process. And he goes, and I'll go with you. No big deal. So we go to small claims court. She walks in with about a 3-month-old baby, stands in front of the judge and says, we didn't know. We asked the seller, shouldn't we be getting those agents involved? The seller said, oh, no, it's no problem. Well, guess what? The seller's like out of state. He's gone. We don't know where the seller is. Can't even sue the seller. He's gone. So as soon as she walks up there with the baby and just starts saying, I'm dumb, stupid, I don't know anything, we lost. No, we should have won. I have a contract. I mean, everything shows I should have won this thing. We lost. So from now on, for the next 5 years, every time I go by that house, that's my farm. I knock doors there. I skip the house. I don't drop anything off. I flip them off. I'm pissed every time I'm by. So honest to goodness, like 5 years later, these people call me to sell their house. And I'm like, I don't want anyone behind me, right? I'm not trusting these people. Something's weird. I'm walking in and I'm just dying to ask, why did you invite me to your house? What's going on? This makes no sense. And I was luckily smart enough to just keep my mouth shut. Every single day I wanted to ask them, I mean, what are the options? The options are, they completely forgot. Really? I mean, how many times have they been sued? I'll never forget. I've sued one person. I know who it was. I can remember the baby. I can remember the whole thing. They felt sorry for me. They felt it really wasn't my fault. They think I kind of got screwed, so they want to give me the business. They think it doesn't matter that I sued them because I'm the best agent in the neighborhood. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm dying to find out the answer. But it's like, I don't know what it was, $15,000 paycheck. And I'm thinking, it is possible. It is possible they somehow forgot. It is possible that if I bring it up, everything goes south. And if I ask the question, all I'm going to get is an answer, right? I don't get paid more. I don't get a free birthday dinner, right? All I'm going to get is an answer. Maybe a truthful answer, maybe not a truthful answer, right? I might even get a bogus answer. So luckily, this is where I'm telling you this because crazy stuff happens in this business, and keep your brain engaged. I had to keep, because I like that. I'm the kid, I was the kid in class who asked a lot of questions. A lot. That's just the way I am. I never asked a question. I sold their house. They loved me. They were happy with me. They moved to Washington. I didn't keep up with them. Crazy stuff happens in this business. Have you sued anybody and then they hired you? I mean, crazy stories.
No, that is
right?
That's what I wish that happened to me. I'd love to tell those stories.
Oh my God.
Oh, hey, look, I have a colleague this happened to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do that thing. True story. Okay. So now we're getting into prospecting and really what you do. So if you go to page 26, Gary, when does this go to 4?
Goes to 4.
Okay, do you need more time at the end or no?
You can.
Okay, well, I'm good. And if you guys have questions, I mean, you've asked like 2 questions. So if you guys have questions, I'm just here to help you guys. I already know this stuff. I've done it. The old, when you teach it, you can master it. I've mastered it. Okay, I'm pretty good at this stuff. I think 2 years ago, I was probably top maybe in all of Keller Williams individual agents in the county. And Tessa asked me, she goes, I got to tell her, what did you do? What did you do? I said, put my head down and went to work. I didn't do anything different than exactly what I'm telling you guys right now. I mean, nothing different. I didn't buy ads on Google. I didn't have a secret widget. I didn't have the formula of who's most likely to move next. I didn't do any of that stuff. I knocked on doors. I made calls. I gave out pies. I was nice to people. I said hi. I had a beer with someone, got the brother's number. I mean, that's what I did. Okay? So on 26, it's telling you there's 3 steps. I guess they're calling it 3-3. There's 3 steps you got to do. And that first one is you got to prepare. So you got to figure out who you're going to call. And I have that same problem. When I want to go call around a neighborhood, I don't want to come in and say, I'm calling from 9 to 11 and come in at 9 and go, okay, now I got to go figure out where the phone numbers are, right? If you have an assistant, you got to teach them how to go find phone numbers. If you don't have an assistant, you got to figure out how to go get phone numbers. Whether it's, and you'll learn this later, there's a thing called a crisscross directory, which means you can look up a street, get the phone number. Most of those things are not working real well these days. Most people I'm finding, and I'm guessing you guys have, I would guess that more people than not, so the majority don't even have a home phone anymore. I got rid of mine when my kids were in elementary school. So and now one's in college, one's graduating. So that's 10 years ago. I think most people, and then I kept a backup line for a fax machine. I even got rid of that because I live 5 minutes from the office. I faxed like 2 things last year. Why am I paying $22 a month to have a phone number that I never use? So whatever it is you're going to do, have a plan of here's the number. So when it's time to make your calls, you're making your calls. You're not now looking for that text to find Mary that you did the volunteer work with. You spent yesterday afternoon getting your call list ready. So today you make the calls. And then this afternoon, you spend time getting ready so tomorrow you can make calls, right? You figure it out. You gotta figure stuff out. Okay. And it's giving you all these things of where you can look for and for sale by owner. Suppose you can look some up on the internet. Again, there's a few of those. Those are very, very competitive, by the way. So if you go that route of FSBOs or expireds, you will run up against incredibly polished real estate agents. Doesn't mean you're going to lose, but it means it's an uphill battle. Okay? Take action. That's simple. Make calls. Go do it. I brought you this. This is Ed. Monday I made 50. It was on a different piece of paper. Monday I made my goal is 50 calls a day, so I can get through those 1,100 calls. And about 90% of phone numbers, right? So I'm going to end up really making about 900, 950 calls. And it's actually a little more because if I have Bob and Mary's number, I call them both, but they only count once, right? Because they're one contact for me. And then I got little check marks. This is how many people I left messages. This is how many people I spoke to. I just kind of like to have a visual. And I promise you the 20%. Look at this. This was 10, 20. Oh, this is my big day. So 20 people I talked to out of 66. So it was almost, that's about 30%. Okay. The next day was 19 versus 34. So that's a pretty good day. Today's been 7 versus 16. And you can add those up and quickly figure out I'm not near my 50 for today. So when I stop talking here, I'll be talking in there. Okay. But I do it day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. Yes.
When you're calling like couples and let's say one of them answers, would you still follow up with the other spouse? Or would you just...
Yeah, you know who told me that? I think Connie Joy told me. I never even thought of that. And then I thought, all you have to do is, here's the answer, Candace, just think about it. Do you think, are you married? Okay. Do you think when you come home and your husband comes home that he tells you everybody he talked to throughout the day? Especially if it was like the real estate guy that you kind of know. Oh, Ed called today and said Happy New Year. Now, I always leave the message for both. I'm leaving a message. Yeah. The odds are it's not. And guess what? They probably work in different places. The reason for the phone call is to put in their head, I mean, I'm trying to be nice, Happy New Year, but the reason for me to make the phone, I'm not that nice of a guy. I'm calling because I want them to have real estate equal ed at the top of their mind. And I promise you, it's only going to be there probably for a few days, right? Unless they just really, really like me. I mean, it's not, you know, all these people are on different levels, right? Some know me. Some of my kids play ball with them for 10 years. They've been to my house. They broke bread with me. They come to my parties. That's different than the guy I met at the door last Tuesday, right? So I'm just trying to gently put, you'll hear a term called reticular activator. It's a thing in the back of your head. When you're thinking of something, you suddenly notice more things like it. I'm trying to make them think, when I hear real estate, boom, ed pops to mind. The example for that, the two examples I usually use is pregnant women start seeing many more pregnant women around. There's not more pregnant women around because you're pregnant. You just notice it more. I just had this happen. It was freaky. A client of mine, the same people that did that, referred the brother who bought the cash deal. They just had a baby. They named their baby Isla, I-S-L-A. I know exactly one person, their baby, named Isla. I talked to her on Tuesday. Tuesday night, my wife and I watched a movie called The Discovery with Robert Redford. And the star in the movie, like the movie name, is Isla. And I paused the movie and I told my wife, and she goes, "That's freaky." I said, "That's unbelievable." How many people know someone named Isla? Two of you. That's a lot. I don't know.
That is a lot.
Is that weird? But here's the deal. On the reticular activator, if I had not had that thing with that woman earlier that day, I told her, I said, "And that's the coolest name to name your baby." Because I haven't talked to her, she had the baby 3 months ago. I talked to the husband a month ago, but I've not talked to the wife. So Tuesday I talked to Shannon. I called them both. That's what happened. I actually talked to the husband, got him on his cell phone, and then I got the wife on her cell phone. And I said, "Man, that's the coolest name." And then 8 hours later, I'm watching a movie that, weird. That's your reticular activator. Had I not had that conversation, it wouldn't have meant anything. I wouldn't have gone to my wife, "Oh, that's an interesting name." Would have meant nothing to me. So anyway, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to, and that's what the 33 touch is doing. You're trying to not let them forget about you. Okay, the assumption we make that's wrong is you just sold them a house, you did a great job, man, you worked that seller, you got them that fence repaired, you did this, you did that, and you go, "Oh yeah, they're gonna be sending me all their friends." It just doesn't work that way. We'd like it to. It happens sometimes, but it doesn't work that way. They don't even think about it. Someone's walking down the hall and they're talking to their friend and they're sitting over there and they're talking real estate. They're not even thinking real estate. So they're not gonna jump up and go, "Oh, I got someone for you to call." They're not even thinking about it. But maybe if I just called them the day before or that morning or 10 minutes before or 3 days before or whatever, it's on the top of their mind and hear real estate. And what did I do? I asked them, "Can I count on your support?" I said, "Yes." Maybe they go, oh wait. Did you say real estate? Do you need somebody? I got this guy, man. He did a great job. Right? The odds just increase. That's all. You're just trying to increase the odds. Make sense? Okay. I might be talking in circles, but you can bob your head. It makes me feel better. Okay, so then on, and I guess we're not going to do these videos, so I'm just kind of talking. On 28, again, they're talking, those are things that 1 through 6, that's 1 through 6 up here. But you're not going to do 6 most likely. And you want to get really good at what you're doing. So don't spread yourself out. I'm just saying don't put it all in one basket. Okay? Don't put it all in one basket. So, and I can tell you right now, the FSBOs and expireds, a lot of people love them because they're like instant business, but they're ridiculously competitive in San Diego. Yes, sir.
You can't call withdraw a listing. So it says withdrawn here.
Yeah, you can't call withdrawn. Right? It has to be, you can call canceled. It should say canceled there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you cross out the word withdrawn or write canceled, that's fine. A withdrawn listing is a listing that someone has. They just temporarily took the house off the market. It is still a valid listing. Canceled means we no longer have a contract, or expired means we no longer have a contract. Okay? We're not getting into that for this class, but if someone has a known contract, if you are aware that Yvette and her husband have a contract even if your friend says, oh, my girlfriend Yvette's having trouble selling her house, can you call her? The response is she still listed? Yeah, I think so. Then Yvette has to call me. They can call you, and you can have any conversation you want. You cannot initiate the phone, right? Correct? You cannot, because that's soliciting someone under a contract. People do it, don't do it. Don't go down that path. And if your friend's strong enough to refer you, your friend can get Yvette to call you. I've had that happen many a time. Sometimes it's a way, sometimes it's giving advice, because usually they can't get out of the contract. And when I tell them and they want more and more advice, I say, look, here's the deal. I can have a brief conversation with you, but you got to get out of your contract if you want me to help you. Because I can't. And I can keep giving free advice, but at some point I don't really want to do
Well,
that.
not only that, you could take on some liability.
Exactly. And I can, they can go back and go, well, I talked to this other guy and he said this, and all of a sudden it just goes sideways. So, okay, 29 talks about FSBOs again. I don't think you're going to make your living there. Expireds, tough. Open houses. I personally believe, as much as I hate open houses, I think for new agents, new houses are probably your number one source, because you're meeting, not everybody, but you're meeting people that probably want to buy a house. Probably, right? A lot of them are just coming in because they saw a sign, they're curious and nosy. But that's a good source. It's a good source for you to start testing some of your scripts. Because if you flub it, you didn't, again, you're at zero, right? Chris walks in, you think he might be a home buyer, you go up and you completely flunk your script. Chris was a no to you already, right? He's not doing business with you. So what's the harm with, you have to learn to let things roll off your back in this business. In most businesses probably, but especially in this business. This business has lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of rejection. I mean, I knock on lots of doors and people aren't doing what I want them to do, right? So you can look at that as rejection. That's just a job. So get used to it. I brought you one thing.
I just want to say one thing with regards to open houses.
You've already said more than one thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say one more thing.
There you go.
There are multiple ways to lead generate around an open house. So not only are you standing there while they're coming through, you can knock doors, invite people. There's tons of ways. I won't go into it, but there are numerous amounts of ways for you to lead generate based on that open house.
One of the things I did years ago, again, not as many FSBOs now, although I do think we're going to see them creep into the market because it's really easy to sell a house right now. So one of the things I did, that was one of my pillars many years ago. I'd have a little booklet I'd like to go meet the for sale by owner. I'd go towards the end of their open house, so they're probably discouraged from knowing about the house. And I tried to be their friend, and I got some reasonable business out of that. And then one day it dawned on me, and I thought, buyers are walking out that door. So I started soliciting those buyers. I met a buyer that way that my little tree, that was like 20-something years ago, I've done like 8 deals for that family. Remember that buyer sold him a house, he wouldn't move, he sold him a house. I sold him a house 24 years ago, and a year ago, they kept the house, but they moved and they bought an $850,000 house. When I met them, they were walking out of a for sale by owner listing, or house in the market. So this little thing I wanted to show you. In Gary's book, I think it's in the one thing, he talks about the comedian Seinfeld. God, bring him right there. Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry says that when he was getting going in the business, that one of the things he did to be on the top of his game is he made himself write a joke every single day. That was his goal. And he said that what he did was he kept the calendar and he put an X, and his goal was to never break the chain of X's of writing a joke every single day, right? So that he'd have more and more to draw on, then he'd go work them out, figure out which ones really are worth. Obviously, he didn't tell, hundreds and hundreds of jokes when he did stand up. He picked out the ones and he worked on, massaged them, and he tried a new joke every day. So with that thing in mind, I started doing this. I don't know, I got like 5 or 6 of these. I got a new one up. So what I did was I put a calendar up. This is on the back of my door. The new one's on the back of my door in my office. And a purple X means I did my prospecting for 2 hours. I either knocked doors for 2 hours. I changed it a little bit. Right now it means I did 50 calls. So I did 49 calls, I don't get an X. I get an extra 50. And then I monitor it myself. I have a rule. I have until the end of the week to make it up. So I was trying to make up, but I'm not going to quite get there. Tuesday, I only got 15 calls in. So I did 66 on Wednesday. I did 53 yesterday, so I made up 19 of them. But today, I've only got like 29 or something like that. So I'm going to be hustling just to get to 50. So I'm going to get 4 days done this week, not my full 5. But so I'm.
What makes a call, like when you talk to somebody or? leave a
No,
message?
to me, it's a call or a message, because these are people that know me. It's whatever definition you want to make. Some people will say, I'm going to talk to 10 people every single time. So I'm going to, what I like, I know that if I'm not screwing around, it's about 2 hours. And every once in a while I get that person, it's a 20-minute phone call, right? You try to stay focused to not do the 20-minute phone call. If you can see it going that way, it's, the right thing to do is to try to schedule a time. Hey, Mary, it seems like you got a lot of questions. You know what? I'm stepping into an appointment. Can I call you tomorrow? Like, does 2 or 3 work? And boom, I'll schedule a whole hour to answer your questions, right? So then you can get them the focus, but you're still getting the calls done. My rule is if I left a message, so if I get to some of my database, there's no phone number. So they're one less in my database that I have to call, but I didn't call them, so I don't get an X. And if I call them and the number's disconnected, I don't get an X.
So if they heard your voice.
Right, if they're hearing my voice. A bunch of my call and the voicemail's full.
Yeah.
So I call another number, and the voicemail's full. Or the voicemail's, how many people have cell phones? Voicemail not set up. Those people don't want messages. So anyway, this is just a visual, and then I kind of grade myself. So I count them up, and I'm looking at my year, and I kind of, and you'll see, if you do this, like I had an issue this past year, kind of a personal thing. I lost both my parents last summer. So I was just starting my apple pie calls when the whole family life took a really bad turn. And I turned to my assistant like a week later. I said, it's going to be a tough 3rd and 4th quarter because I knew I wasn't getting my calls. I was spending massive amount of time, hospice and this thing and that thing and hospital, all that crazy stuff. So I had a really bad 3rd and 4th quarter. I mean, in real estate, you will see your activity will almost always, there's exceptions, but almost always it will show up 3 months down the road. If you're not doing activity, you can expect that 3 months down the road, you probably won't have much business. It's really true. Now, if you do a lot of open houses and you want to be that agent, you're going to pick up all the buyers. They're a little bit more quick turn. If you can find them a house, because it's tough to find them a house, right? You still want the listings, but you got to get out. So whatever it takes for you, I like that because at any moment in time, I can glance. I also, on my door, I have taped up there, but it says apple pie calls. Carmel Mountain Ranch, meaning door knocking. This place, door knocking. And I can quickly glance up there and know exactly what I should be doing on any given week. And I laid it all out for the first 6 months of the year. And my vacation's in red. I know when I'm going on vacation. So I can look and I can go, well, wait a minute. I got 1,000 calls to make. I can't do that in 2.5 weeks. Like I have a problem right now in my apple pies because the last 2 weeks of June, I'm going to Europe with my family. So now I know I got to start those in May. I really don't like to make a 4th of July call in May, but that's the reality. And my way around it is I'm probably going to have my assistant pick up 200 or 300 of those calls. Right? She can do the call too. It's not quite as good as me, but it's better than not getting a call in. And I'm just not going to, the odds are, I shouldn't say not, but the odds are I'm not going to do 80 calls. Right? Last year I got to a point where I was really motivated and I was behind, so I could do like 62 calls a day, and I did it. But it gets a little monotonous. It's the same message. Other agents can do it for, I don't know if you got big in the calls. Some agents will go do calls, they can do 4 or 5 hours. I'm just like, yeah, kind of wipes me out. Okay, but open houses are great. When you're new, open houses are great. They don't know you're new. You can, again, it's how do you carry yourself? How do you present yourself? Nowadays, unlike when I got in the business, nowadays it's super easy to make yourself look like you've been around. We used to call it four color postcards. Now it's just a postcard, right? I mean, it used to be the difference between a 4 color and a black and white. The price was like 4 to 1. Now, 4 color, glossy. I mean, even at the office here. I mean, so your presentation can look really good with the same effort I put. I mean, yours probably look better than mine. I mean, it's so easy to look good. And then you have to sound good. Sound good's a different story. You have to learn what to say. You have to be comfortable when you're saying it, And when you do those open houses, it's exact. It's the exact same thing. You have this goal, right? Exact same thing. You got to get a phone number. You got to get a contact. You know, them going, yeah, if we see something, we'll call you. I got your card. They're not calling you. Okay? Get their info. Get their info. Follow up. You come to my open house and you fill out the sheet. We have a sheet now. I am handwriting a thank you card to you. Then I'm following up. You might have given me a bogus phone number. You might have given me a crappy address. That's the way it works. I'm sending you a card because you know how many agents are going to send them a thank you card, handwritten thank you card? Probably zero. But Jacqueline will now.
One little hint. So you're doing what he does, and this is where connecting comes in, being really good at connecting, because you got to connect with them 10 minutes at the most. But you might want to get back to the information that they gave you if you've got a connection. You know, just want to make sure that this is what I read this. So you live on blah blah blah. This is your phone number, and if it's not, they'll go. If you made a connection with them, they'll go, oh well, you know, I didn't put the right phone number. This is my number.
That's a great point. You know, you guys with what he was just saying? So they filled in your little, I used to have a book, and then Sandra Lofgren actually gave me, she got a nice sheet. It's a full sheet for each person. So they can answer a couple things. Yeah. Lots of times they're going to, oh yeah, okay. And they're giving you a bunch of crap. But then you have that connection. He's absolutely right. You follow me and go, hey, let me just double check. Is it, is that what I wrote down? No. That's my old number. It's this number, right? Because they didn't know you when you first walked in the door. They just look at you as, oh, you're going to be a pain in the butt. Right? And now they're going
this house.
Yeah. Oh, God, he was actually a nice guy. Yeah. You know? And be careful. They double, triple check if they have BREs. I had a guy that lied to me 4 times last night. Kept asking me questions, asking me questions. He's telling me you got agents all over town. And I said, oh, great. I said, do you have someone working for you? Have you signed a contract? I explained what it looks like. Like, no. And I did exactly what Gary said. When he was leaving, I said, hold on. I picked exactly what he said. I picked up the sheet and I said, because I knew I wanted to call the guy. I said, just want to make sure I can get a hold of you at this number. And I think it was the right number. I said, great. I got a hold of the guy and he wants me to run an offer. We're talking about the offer. And then all of a sudden he says, well, you know, gosh, this other agent, you know, maybe I should really use him because he's showing me houses. I said, whatever you want to do. I said, you told me yesterday he was in Mission Valley and this is up here and he went blah, blah, blah. And then it was weird because I talked to the guy, so I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything weird with the other agent. So I called the other agent and because they did write an offer, and I said, look, I just want to be up front. This is what happened. I asked him. This is what he told me. And he starts laughing. He goes, I got a BRE with the guy. What the hell is he telling you that for? That's a contract. So the guy was lying through his teeth on $1.2 million house. Oh. So, and he lied through his teeth like multiple times. As a matter of fact, the next day when we're discussing it, I said, this is what I explained exactly what it looks like. And he's going, no. I said, you sure? Because the story started sounding funny to me. And then I understood the story when I called the agent. Yeah, he must have called the agent. The agent went, you're under contract with me. What the hell are you talking about? But he never wanted to fess up to him. The agent's like, I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. He goes, no, I get it. And it also helped that agent out because now that agent knows the guy's a little slight. You better keep an eye out. Right? We like to know that because we don't know. That's a weird business. You meet somebody at an open house, and some days you're helping them buy $1 million home. Like a week later, you've known them for 10 minutes. It's a weird business. You wouldn't do it with a CPA, would you? Would you just stumble into a CPA at the grocery store and you're a CPA, and you go in, here's my entire financial life? Probably not. Okay. So you guys can read open houses, agent referrals. That's another way. I know an agent here in town. One of his pillars is, because he said he didn't know anybody, is he just got on an agent directory, like Keller Williams has an agent directory, and just started calling agents all outside of San Diego to be their agent in San Diego, and he set up a whole funnel just for those agents. Very, very successful guy here in town. That was one of his pillars. Not mine. I have some people like that, but it's only if I meet them personally at a thing. But that's who we called, because he said, I got nobody to call. So that's who he called. And then he started getting those referrals. He'd give you 20% referral fee or something. Figure it out. Ask around, get ideas.
Yeah, and there's a lot you can do.
They tell you what you can post, not post on these different things. That's great, blah, blah, blah. post to social media. I told you what I do. I don't know that mine's any better or worse than anything else. It's not great. It's all new. It's kind of like, I decided I need to keep a little bit of a real estate commercial out in front of people. So I'm a nice guy. I'm giving you good info, and then there's a little real estate. So that's my little formula. I have no idea if it's working or not working. Especially when I have someone else doing it. That's nice.
Do a separate business.
What's that?
Do the separate business Facebook page or just?
I don't. I do, but I don't use it. So I was kind of late to the game with Facebook. I'm not enamored with it because it's too much of a black hole to suck you in. I'm forcing myself now to try to do a few more because I really should be engaging people. Holly puts on stuff. I don't respond to Holly's stuff because Holly's not my client, right? But and she put some nice stuff up there. She did some fun stuff. So if I see something my client was doing that, I go, oh, that looks like fun, right? You got to try to engage a little bit more because Facebook's supposedly on the algorithm. All those things you put out, your whole group doesn't get them.
No.
They get them if you engage more, right? If you engage with Mary and Mary engages with you, you post something, Mary's probably gonna get it. Is what I'm
You're
told.
only seeing a certain group of people, which is weird.
What's that?
You're only seeing a certain group
Right.
of the same people.
Right, it's weird because I've had some people go, you know, I didn't know them and I learned something happened that was kind of important in their life. I had that happen to my one friend who used to be my business partner. He got married. He goes, oh, well, I put it on Facebook. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
well, first of all, do you really think I scroll through every posting on Facebook? And then I learned that they say sometimes it's like 10 or 20% do they even get. So anyway, figure out what you're going to do with that. What I did, to answer your question, I do have a business page. I just thought that if I go out to all these other people I know and say, will you like my business page? Maybe it was in my head, but I thought, man, that's asking a lot because now I'm kind of telling people I'm going to inundate you with real estate. So I think I'm going to lose a lot of people. So I've just incorporated it into my personal page, but I use my business page. I do some advertising. I do a boost, which is advertising on Facebook. So now if I do a really nice video on a house, I target market and I send it out. So I'm glad I have it, but there's like 5 followers and they all just found me organically because I've never once said, please like my business page. I just don't think a lot of people do it, so I'm not going to go do that. I'm not saying it's a bad, if you start from scratch, maybe it's a great idea because, you know, maybe they're just as likely to do that as a regular page, but I don't know. Okay, number 39, or page 39, I mean, just that big bold, just, you know, like put that on your forehead, become a lead generation machine. I mean, honest to goodness, that's really what this business boils down to. You can be the greatest agent out there. You can know contracts as good as Gary. You can be, you know, as nice as Yoni. Look at that smile over there, right? But if you're not out there getting in front of people, letting them know you're in the business, having conversations, setting appointments, you don't make any money. You don't make any money, period. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So you gotta dedicate yourself in some manner to build some pillars. Again, I highly recommend multiple pillars. Betsy, what's your main pillars?
Sphere.
Yeah.
It's basically sphere.
You put more people in your funnel over the years. You keep in touch, right? You do some social things probably with them. You keep, you know, your neighbor. If you do your business right, even though it's not a goal of mine when I take a listing, it just works out. But hopefully 80 to 90% of the people, they become your friends, especially the ones that are in town. You help them buy a house. So you keep in touch. And before you know it, some of them are at your wedding. They're in your backyard eating. You know, I do a little taco thing in my backyard now. Some agent, Leah Tisdale gave me the idea. She said, God, 2 years ago, I started inviting people to my house, and it was like a whole different vibe. They were breaking bread at my house. So, wow, that's an interesting idea. So I talked my wife into it, and we hired the Mr. Taco with the authentic tacos, and I hired a musician, and we order, buy some drinks, and it's really not that expensive. And everyone's, I had 65 people in my backyard 2 years ago, and like 55 this past year. It's real casual. I don't know. I mean, one of them just hired me to buy and sell $1 million house. Maybe that helped. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. You don't ask me, go, hey, are you hiring me because I gave you a taco? That's a stupid question. You don't know. But I think there is something to be said about someone breaking bread, and then the next step in that relationship is breaking bread in your own house, right? You know, taking them to Rubio's and then maybe taking them to Stana is you're out and about, that's nice. But now you're coming to my house, you know? I mean, even my apple pie thing, what I love about it is if you're gonna get an apple pie from me, you're gonna have to tell me you want one. You know, I'm gonna hound you because I call you, I email you, I do all that stuff. But you gotta come get it. So you're driving here with my postcard, if you don't have my address, you usually don't. You're driving here from wherever you live or work, coming in here to do that. That's a lot of effort, you know, and I respect it. I try to make it fun. I have some wine, I have some, cut up some pies, I put some big flag here, got some music going, I wear a silly Uncle Sam hat. I have some fun with it. But I recognize that these people are stepping out to do something. And I got to think that, like Gary's saying, I've got to think that binds them a little bit more. Doesn't mean they're all going to hire me, but I don't need them all. You know, if I get 5 because I gave them an apple pie and 5, you know, I had a guy 2 years ago, I started giving out a $30 certificate to a Christmas tree, right? And it's $30. You can go up there and get a $30 wreath. I had people go up there and buy a $30 wreath and it costs them like $1.82 for tax. Not 30 if you spend 100, it's $30. And I had a guy like 2 years ago, and this is a guy, my kid and his kid, when they were 10 years old, played travel ball together for 1 month. It was like a side team, and I promised the coach that my kid would play. It was only like 10 games or something like that. Maybe it was 2 months, and that was it. And there was one dad that I liked when I was there, so I did my thing with him. I asked my question. He said, sure. I put him on the list. And he actually called me after I gave him a Christmas tree thing. And he said, you know what, I got to be honest with you. I kind of liked you, you know, at the baseball, but I don't know if I really would have sent you any business. I mean, I don't know you that much. He goes, you just sent my family this Christmas tree thing? That's really cool. I'm promising you right now, when I hear somebody, they're coming to you. And about 8 months later, I sold his fiance condo. Wasn't a big deal. $10,000 I put in my pocket. But that was about as straight as anyone said it, right? He was dead honest. He's like, you seem like a good guy, but I don't know you from Adam. And I thought that was really cool. You did that. No one's ever done that for my family. You don't know. You don't know. So I'm not saying go spend a whole bunch of money. I'm just saying figure out what works for you. Figure out a little value. You know, if you're giving them the same coupon they're getting in the 2-for-1 magazine, you really haven't given them value. Maybe there's a little edge somewhere. What else? What else can I answer? I don't think there's anything else. That's it, right? Be a lead generating machine. I don't have to tell you the action plan. You guys can read it. You go out there, add people to your database, follow up with them, right? And then that's add people to your database, follow up with the people, get appointments, and know what the hell you're doing when you show up at the appointment. That's a whole other class. Know what you're doing. Figure it out. Figure out, you know, when you're in there and you've never sold a house before and they ask you that question, you want to say, man, I'm at this awesome company and we have these top people teach us and then we had a great broker review stuff. And I'm the hungriest agent you're ever going to be because you are my client. That's it. You got to sell whatever you have to sell. That's what I sold when I was in your shoes. We've all been there. Every one of us, Betsy was there. We all started somewhere where our track record was 0 or 2. Right? Yes.
Your first year?
Freddie. Huh?
Your first year?
What did I do? I think I sold 9 houses, something like that. And I did mostly open houses. I knocked a lot of doors and I got nothing out of it. I was door knocking in a neighborhood that didn't, I was stupid, but no one said, you're being stupid.
Is that with Keller Williams?
No, I've been here 9, Keller Williams, well, they didn't exist in San Diego back then. I was with a Century 21, a little mom and pop office. Many years ago. They had what they called restricted farm areas where you can't go over here because Mary's over here and Bobby's over here and Joey's over here, but you can go over this crap in East San Diego that nobody else wants. Okay. I got business out of that one because nobody else was over there. I have I have one lady who's still my data. I just talked to her on Monday. She's still my database from, I sold her house on Manzanita for like $124,000 3 decades ago. You know what? I'll tell you something to hopefully motivate you. So I get in the business, and I was living in, I don't know if you guys are down south, but North Park, borders East San Diego. I'm living on Cherokee Avenue, which is the last street, 92104. The next block over, you know, my neighbors across the street, their backyard is 92105, right? East San Diego. And I start door knocking around there. I'm living out there. I start door knocking. I'm an officer in the Navy at the time. I'm getting into real estate. I'm 26 years old. And one day I get a phone call. I never even met the people. And they call me over to their house. And it's these people that are like 70 years old. And they need to sell the house for their mom, who's like 94 years old. The mom was living there for like 50 years or some crazy number, right? These are little 800, 900 square foot home, 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes. They were built like in 1906, right? And I have known one of them, and I got a duplex up. So anyway, I go down, I'm interviewing. It was kind of funny. I'm interviewing and I'm doing whatever I was taught to do. This is probably my second or third sale. My first sale, my best friend waited a month to sell his house till I got my license, which was cool. And then I helped him buy a house. So I did 2 deals with him. He ended up getting in real estate with me. This might have been my third or fourth sale. So I've got like 0 track record, and then my best friend in alcohol. So anyway, these people like me, and I don't know what they saw in me, young, energetic. I don't know, I had the little military haircut, I don't know. But it was very interesting because they hire me. And I'm walking through the house, and they mention to me, just out of the blue, they say, by the way, we live in South Mission Beach, and we're going to be selling, but we just want to tell you right now, you're not going to sell that house. We know like 6 agents over there, so we're going to have to use one of them. And I just I was like, what? You know, why are you telling me this? So I just looked at him, and I said, yeah, you hired me to sell this house. I'm going to do the best job I can for this house. So I go and I sell that house. And like 3 weeks later, they call me and say, could you come to South Mission Beach? We want you to sell the house. And at the time, now you'll laugh when I tell you the price, because I remember this. This is a house there's this house, there's an alley, and then there's the apartment buildings that are on the boardwalk, and then the sand. So when you stand in the front, they have a cute little yard, a little picket fence. You stand in the front yard, and you're about 200 feet to sand, or whatever, 350 feet to ocean. Right? So what the hell's that one? And beautiful little place, like a 1,600 square foot house, beautiful woodwork. And it had a guest unit above the garage. $430,000. It's probably $2.5 million now. I mean, seriously. I mean, I look back and I go, man, why couldn't I have figured out how to buy that place? I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, it was a lot of money at the time.
It was huge. The average sale my first 2 years was $112,000, $115,000. So that was 4 times my average sale. And yeah, so my point is, you don't know. Here these people went out of their way to tell me something that I had no idea was even going to happen, and tell me that there's no way it's going to happen with me. I never brought it up again. I never said, hey, what about the place in me? I probably should have, honestly. I never even brought it up. And they just liked the way I did my business. Who knows what I did? I went over and did whatever I was taught at Century 21 to go do. I'm sharing that with you because don't be afraid, because you're brand new. I mean, you didn't get any greener than me at that point. So then you do it a little bit more, and you do a little bit more, and now I'm pushing 1,000 sales. You know, so that's 930 something sales ago. So what else can I answer? It's 2 minutes to 4. We're gonna wrap because I got some calls to make. Anything else? Did it help?
Yes.
I'm sure it did. It even helped me. I'm gonna pick up a few things.
The other thing we didn't talk about, but I know you guys get cracked the whip on it, is for this to work, you've got to have accountability. I told you what you need to do. Now you need to make sure you do what you need to do, right? So you have to have accountability, whether that's your wife. I've had agents tell me it's their kid, because I've had agents tell me that they promise their kid, we're going to Disneyland if I do this, but if I don't do it, we ain't going. I'm like, holy crap, I would never do that. But people have done that. My recommendation is probably, you know, if you're not to the point where you're getting an actual coach, find someone in the office. I told my lender, the lender over here, great guy, by the way. If you guys have an opportunity, you know, use Chris. I told him the other day, I said, he doesn't even know it. I said, you're my accountability guy. Every time I hit my 50, I get up, I walk over, I get my fist bump, and I said, 50. That's just what I want to do. Whatever it is, whatever you want to do for yourself. Maybe you get ahi tuna dinner every time you hit your, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe yours isn't 50, maybe it's 10. you gotta write 10, you talk about that, write 10 thank you cards in a day. That's what I used to do. I still do that, but I can't do it now when I'm making those calls. It's just too time consuming right now, but I will do that. I'm big on thank you cards. Whatever it is, set it. Don't go like, oh, today maybe I'll do this. Figure it out. Like today's Friday, right? It's almost Friday night. I would recommend, if you haven't already done it, go home this weekend. Think about what we talked about. No, just tell yourself that's just a fact of life. If you want to succeed in real estate, that is your fact of life. That's it. If you don't believe in that, good luck to you. Okay, it's not I didn't come up with this. Okay, I didn't figure out all this stuff. You got to believe in that, and then figure out what you're going to do, and set a schedule, whatever it is, and then figure out how you're going to be accountable to that thing, and then go do it. You got to go do it. Like I said to Tessa a year and a half ago. Actually, it was about a year ago, because it was right at the end of 2016, beginning in January 2017. She asked me that question. I said, I put my head down, I went to work. You just have to figure out what went to work looks like for you, and you'll succeed. It's not, I don't think it's a very tough business. I think it's tough to succeed because most people don't do the accountability. Most people don't put enough X's on their calendar.
That's the same thing Hastings said the other day too, so it's nice to hear you echoing that.
Dave?
Yeah, it's great to hear your guys' anecdotal evidence.
Yeah. Well, that's why I share a story. And again, none of my stories were for my ego. My ego is my ego, whatever it is. I was trying to give you a couple stories that you can remember that happened, that are real life. These aren't stories that, like even my REO story, I wasn't some great, I mean, if you met because I went to conventions where you meet these REO agents back in the time, those are foreclosures. It means real estate owner, the bank owns it. There were guys, and they were jet setters. These guys were getting on planes and flying and meeting with VPs and presidents of banks to get accounts. I stumbled into it. One thing I didn't say, I always say at the beginning of these classes, I'll take 2 more minutes of your time. There's an old quote, supposedly came from Seneca, which is a guy back in Socrates and Plato's time. Oprah Winfrey's kind of stole it, but it's luck is a matter of preparation meeting opportunity. Okay? So some people could say, I got lucky. I sold that guy's house, and then I got that account. I got lucky. But what's the reality? The reality is I pounded the pavement in that guy's neighborhood for years so that I could get the call to go meet him. And then I was prepared to do the business, but the opportunity, I made my opportunity because I kept calling the guy. We all know that probably some of you sitting here, if you're true to yourself, wouldn't have made that third phone call. I mean, literally, I got blown off twice. Wouldn't have made the third phone call. And I don't know why. I just told myself, what the hell, it's a new year. I got nothing going on. Make the phone call. Glad I made the phone call, right? And that's just the business of the REOs. Then there's all the business of the REO buyers that I put in those houses that are on my database. They're in my funnel. I'm doing business with them. And then there's the business of those people that refer me people. So I'll bet you if I really thought this thing through, it might be pushing $1 million. That's pretty good for making the phone call. Now I had to put in that work, right? I had to do the preparedness, but I made that opportunity. So never sell yourself short, having drinks. Yeah, I got lucky that they happened to invite that other couple. So there's a little luck there, but I asked the question. That guy wasn't asking me, hey, can you sell my brother a house? That wasn't the conversation. All right? And my door's open. Not every moment of every day, but my door's open. So if you guys got something, I'm here to help.